damn it. No, I do. I need it. Oh, no. Live from Las Vegas, Nevada. Sorry, I'm messing around. I'm not never use the info. Red one video. Already got it rocking and rolling. All right. Cool. Can you guys hear me? Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Please. All right, first time. There's a first time for everything. Wait, you put it on there. Put it on this one over here real quick. There we go. Okay, much better. All right, got it. All right, now swing back. My producer Carl in the house today too. This is great. Yes, producer Kyle. You respect my authority. Respect his authority too. Okay, well, we usually do something like this. So.
How are you able to meet with these people? Because they're like, oh, here's this young girl that wants to learn. Hey, come right here, bro.
Yeah, and for you new people. My manager too. He was the manager at the Daily Wire, and like he ended
up Shapiro's platform.
He ended up like quitting his job to manage me. But it all started with me. It all started with me saying, hey, could I have some help with YouTube? And I was just DMing like big media companies and just asking like some of their managers. And some say no, but there's ways around it if you don't want to spend.
I love this topic. I love this topic.
No, not as much as I do. Wait, but there's more. He really needs to go to like a Lamb of God concert. Like, Lamb of God, Slayer fixes this. You guys send me these things. I don't go looking for this shit. Is everybody triggered? Is everybody triggered from this one? Everybody decided to start dancing in the middle of a chipmunk. Welcome to the #1 most viral video on Twitter right now. I'm probably gonna get a strike for this. It is what it is. Kyle, maybe you're too young for this. Do you remember that? Do you remember that song "White Chicks and Gang Signs"?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
All right, that's enough of that. Put me back in. There we go. Welcome. Hey, how do you like the new digs? This is the Southern Command Center. We're here, typical sorority girls. It is typical. Do you think so? Yeah. We're still working out the kinks here. At least I got the 2 camera setup going now. Throw it up here real quick. There we go. See, you like that one? Is that better? So I got some news for you guys today. Jesus Christ. Really? Are we already there? Are we already here? See, I don't judge. I just let you guys do whatever you're going to do. See? All right. Let's see. Thanks, Rational Trucker, for your $1.99 contribution. That won't keep the lights on. Is unconditional love ever real? Okay, we'll come back to you. How about we come back to that later on? Good enough. I have producer Kyle's in the next room over here. So if you hear him chime in, you'll know who that phantom voice is. I'm looking at I'm trying to work this out because I'm so used to having like my big gigantic monitor from my Reno studio, but it's okay. Is the audio good? Is the studio? I don't know. Studio looks good. Just let me know that the audio is good. Am I too quiet? You want to put the gain up a little bit? Yeah, we're still working the kinks out a little bit here. So the problem, I don't think a lot of people really realize that the problem with doing shows like this, especially if it's like a show where it's like you and you have other people, there's so many like moving parts. I don't think people really appreciate the professionality that you has to go into like producing like a large scale show like this. When we do Access Vegas is we have producers, but we have like a lot of people don't see the behind the scenes guys that are back there too. So you like that? Is it good? Okay, just let me know. This is, like I said, a proof of concept today. Louder, please. Let's see. I wonder if I can you do that on, oh wait, maybe it's mic volume. Is it mic volume? All right, I'm just going to max out the mic volume on my end too. Let's see how it goes. All right, that's all right. I don't have that many videos to really play today, so we'll see. All right. Yeah. So let's see where to begin today. I want to get into really. I'm hopefully your Kyle's brother is Miguel Munoz, so I have Kyle as our producer.
Yes, sir.
And so Miguel said he would join us, but he probably won't join us until probably for another half hour or so. But that's great because that gives me time to sort of lean into what I was going to lean into today. Today's topic brought to you by Red One Studios, but I would also like to give a big thanks to Pearl Davis for today's topic too. And oddly enough, it's not exactly what you think it is. It's we're going to get into, is it ever red pill? Is it ever when I say red pill, I hate even using that as a fucking verb. Is it ever in a man's interests? Would it be better to simply pay for box than it would be to even learn game? I've had guys ask me exactly this question before. They say, why would I want to learn game? Why would I even bother like going to you don't even, I mean, if you think about it this way, you don't even really have to make all that much money, because there's, whenever I talk about the incel situation, which by the way has been in the news lately again, there's no such thing as an incel. I'm just going to reiterate that one more time. The incel pandemic, the incel epidemic, endemic. The incel endemic is bullshit. It's a Bubba Misa. So, and the reason why I say that is because no man, especially in the 21st century, is really involuntarily celibate. You're voluntarily. If you want to say you're a vol cell, sure, 100%. You don't want to be. You want to be getting laid, but you're not getting laid. You're voluntarily celibate. There's no such thing as an incel, especially not in the state of Las Vegas, the state of Nevada, where prostitution is legal. So again, I had to like rearrange the way that I use examples now, because I got to get my head out of the Reno, Nevada mode and get back into the Las Vegas, Nevada mode. Because if you were going to say, well, Rolo, I've got $500 in my pocket, where am I going to go? I would say, come up to Reno. I'll drive you over to Dayton Mount House, and I'll take you to the Moonlight Bunny Ranch. I'll take you to the Mustang Ranch. I'll take you to, and I will 100%, I can 100% guarantee you will not be an incel after that. I want to lose my V card. How do I lose my V card? You bring $500 to Reno, Nevada, and I will take you to Mount House, Nevada, and we will go to Moonlight Bunny Ranch, and you will lose your V. 100% guaranteed. And so in that 100% guarantee is sort of the germ of an idea. And I have to give a shout out really quickly to Aaron Clary, Captain Capitalist, Cappy. When I was driving, I just drove from Reno down to Las Vegas with my dogs in tow. I am now a Las Vegas resident, a semi-permanent resident. I'm not abandoning Reno by any stretch, but I did actually make the drive in my Tacoma Mrs. T, my wife, was driving the 4Runner, and she had one dog in the back, and I had Ned in the back of the Tacoma. And we just barely beat the big, gigantic snowstorm that just dumped in the Sierras right now. So I was looking at the snowpack after the storm that we just had up there. In Lake Tahoe alone, there's 38 inches of snow.
Have you seen Truckee?
That is like over 3 feet. What's that?
Have you seen Truckee downtown?
Oh, Truckee is like a mess.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
hell, I have. So what's funny is I have a Blink camera system on my home, on my because it's necessary. And so I was looking at the backyard, and I'm like, holy shit! If I'd have been there, I would have had to like cut tunnels for the dogs to run around in the backyard. So we made it out just in the nick of time. On my way down to from Reno to Las Vegas, I listened to Aaron Clary's book, A World Without Men. And this is, you got to remember, like, Aaron's one of my best friends. I've known Aaron since 2012. So we've been for over 12 years now. Been good friends. I remember encountering Asshole Consulting in 2012. And it was right after Aaron came out with Worthless, which was, I think it's his second or third book at that time. And it was about worthless degrees. And I was like, oh, this is great. I gotta pick this up. Then he had Bachelor Pad Economics, and he mentioned me in Bachelor Pad Economics. It was myself, Royce, and Roosh, because remember, this is like 2013. And he asked me, and he didn't do this, but he asked me if I wanted to be on the cover of the book as a sort of like a cartoon, because he was putting like all these PUAs on the book cover. And I told him he could do it, but it never, I'm kind of in hindsight, I'm glad he didn't. But I think he tried to put Roosh on the cover as a sort of like a cartoon character of Bachelor Pad Economics. And now I'm kind of disappointed, because I kind of wish I would have been on that. But so I remember reading that. And then, as you guys know, I did the cover for his book, The Book of Numbers. And then after that, it was The Menu, which is sort of, The Menu is kind of an interesting book too. People always ask me for like book suggestions. This is a pretty good, I think Captain Capitalism, Cappy, is a really good author, and I think he would definitely be in my top. If I had a top 25, he would certainly be in that top 25 list. Probably a couple of them would be in my top 10. But I remember The Menu was really good. But The Menu is sort of like how to get along and what to do. He's like, Aaron doesn't do prescriptions per se, but maybe like suggestions is a better way of thinking about it. So Aaron wrote this book, A World Without Men, and it was really from the dollars and cents and the economics impact of, let's just say tomorrow, all men on planet Earth were completely like just erased, like Thanos, and all the men disappeared. And what would be the economic impact of men disappearing? And essentially within, I would say, not even 2 weeks, like maybe 10 days, the world economy would collapse, because all the key sectors that keep a society going are like 98% employ men, right? So women will be buried up to their eyeballs in, raw sewage. Lights wouldn't come on, internet infrastructure, pretty much everything you see around. So I thought it was interesting, because I constantly see this on like whatever podcast. I see this on Myron and Fresh do this. Like, I've heard Myron say this before. Well, everything around you was built by a man. Like, yeah, duh. Okay. That's easy. And it's like, it's like, it's flippant almost, especially when you're talking to some chick who's like in her, early 20s. And a woman who has been sort of steeped in feminism and not really knowing she's been steeped in feminism. Hey, I got James Sexton. Hold on. Wait a minute there. We got to immediately put that. Sorry, I don't have my sound drops ready to go yet, but I will. We have Kyle and I are going over to Guitar Center right after this show, because we're like missing like 2 or 3 different cables to be able to run the full show, but we'll have them next time. Thanks, James. Much appreciated. And I'm glad to see James Sexton in the chat, because we're going to be quoting James today as well. Quoting from the scripture of James. But no, Aaron's book, I listened to A World Without Men on the way down, and again, maybe this is a timely super chat here. If it if it floats, flies, fucks, or fucks, rent it. Have a great show today, brother. Best of success in the new studio. See you and Mike very soon in Vegas. Yes, James is coming to visit us the 14th of March. So we expect that to be a really big show for us for Access Vegas. So big that it's exclusive. James Sexton, exclusive here in Las Vegas. No, not in Nashville, in Las Vegas. No, here in Las Vegas. So I listened to the book. I got through the whole thing. It's actually a pretty quick read. I think it's about 4.5 hours if you are listening to it. So I wasn't even done with my trip because it took me about like 7.5 hours to get down. And it was probably one of Aaron's best works. So if you are into like not, the dollars and cents, just the nuts and bolts of the economic impact of feminism, that's really, I mean, if I was going to summarize it, I would say it's definitely the economic impact of feminism. And I think what triggered Cappy to write this was most likely it was because he was sick of hearing the same kind of flippant answer, like everything around you, this laptop, this trackball, this camera over here, everything, all of this has been built by, well, yeah, but that doesn't even like brush the surface of the impact. If you were to say, well, because we started the show last week on Access Vegas, and we ran around. It was myself. We had Andrew Wilson was on the show, and we had Dave Cooley from No Fugazi was on. And I wanted to start the show with that one video, although I probably timed it differently, but I want to start with that one video going around, like these guys were doing like these street interviews of these women. And it was like, do we need men? Do we need men? And every single woman that was on the street said, no, we don't need men. Fuck men. I just want to look at men, but I don't want men to be around, blah, blah, blah. And then they asked the men, do we need women? And every last one of the guys said, yes, of course we need women. We want women. We want to, especially, are they hot? And so all the men answered in the affirmative and all of the women answered in the negative. Do we need men? And then I thought about the book, A World Without Men. And really, that whole book was based on that conversation. Maybe like Aaron didn't know it at the time, but it was certainly based on that conversation. And so I thought about that, and I'm like, well, if that's the case, have we come to a point, I think, sort of intersexually in the 21st century, where we have, for at least the last 4 generations, invested ourselves and internalized this feminist narrative of are men even necessary? And again, it goes back to my conversation with Dr. Phil, which was the superfluous conversation. Like, I tried to explain this, and I know Dr. Phil can't be this dense. He's a doctor, for fuck's sake, right? But I'm trying to explain to him just the word superfluous. He knows what fucking superfluous is. I refuse to believe that a guy like him doesn't understand that. And you know why? Because he was just on Joe Rogan again, or he was just on a podcast recently. And the Dr. Phil I saw on that podcast was not the Dr. Phil that I saw sitting across from me in that studio. And I want to talk to the real Dr. Phil, not the one that is like the studio version of him or the syndicate, the network version of him. I want to talk to like the real Dr. Phil, because I know, like, if I got him in this studio, or if I like just even help, he can go do an interview with Joe Rogan again. If I could see him there, he's a whole different animal with Joe Rogan than he is on his own show. And so during that conversation, I'm explaining that, and in no uncertain terms, I explained, I said, look, I talk to guys and I talk to women in every show that I do, damn near every show that I do, I hear the same thing, which is women will say, we don't need men. We want men, but we don't need men. And of course, what happens is they fixate on the want side of things. But I'm looking at the need side right now, because that's really what Aaron was going after when he was writing A World Without Men. And so I was thinking about this, and I thought, well, what do you do about this? Like, what's like, is there any point in learning game? Is there any point in even going to the gym? Because all you have to do is pay for it. All you have to do is pay for box, right? I've had so many guys say, why would I want to learn game? Why would I invest myself in like learning new social skills? Why would I even want to go to the gym when all I got to do is just go on, I don't know, Seeking Arrangements or Tryst? That's one. What's the other one? Yeah, for escorts. What else? There's Tryst. There's what's the other one? Oh, skip the games or something like that.
Escort Alligator.
Escort Alligator.
Yeah, there's I forgot the rest of them.
That's what gets me. So that also gets to the point like where it's like, if that's the case, like it doesn't matter. Like I'm in Vegas, I'm in Nevada. Prostitution is legal here in this state and has been really since like the good old days, right? And most of the most of the escorts and stuff here, I'm sure there's probably some really high-end escorts, and it makes me wonder sort of like what the mechanics of getting like an out call is right now, what the mechanics are of a blowjob's $150, spending an hour with me is $300, whatever it is. Like I know how that works because I can see how it works at like say the Mustang Ranch or at like the Moonlight Bunny Ranch, right? There's a menu, literally a menu of things that you can do, and it's like going to a restaurant. It's like the sex restaurant, and I'm relatively certain that that's probably how it works, and in states that don't allow prostitution, right? So when people come up to me and they say, "You want me to show off my muscles?" No, dude. Wait, what's this? Hold on, wait, this is too good. Hold on, hold on, this is good. Where did it go? Wait, I'm in the wrong one. Show off your muscle. You don't want to see my muscle. No, it's gonna cost. It's $150 to see my muscles. Hey man, I gotta keep up with the times. Yeah, so I'm well aware of the man. I popped out this chat. Now I'm regretting popping it out. I'm just gonna put it over here. I see. Oh, I got Sam Bada in the house. Kyle, I'm gonna mod you here in a minute. Just give me a few.
Sir, I get my wrench.
Yeah, I will get your wrench in a minute. So I'm thinking about this and I'm like, should you just not simply just pay for it? Like, why not just fucking pay for it? And I've contemplated this before because I've had other people ask me the same thing. And I've lived in Nevada for like at least half of my life. And I've never seen a prostitute. I've never like paid for sex. I've never had to pay for sex. Probably never will pay for sex. I enjoy being married. I like having sex with my wife. Thank you very much. So like paying for it like directly always seems like, I don't know, like failure or something like that. And maybe that's really where it's at. But I wanted to, and as soon as Miguel gets in here, I'll talk about this, but I think we should really consider like the economic impact of how like intersexual dynamics in the 21st century really work, right? Because if I was, and I've had this conversation before, if I talk to Cappy doesn't understand, like, and I don't know, maybe this is just because he can't get his head out of sort of like a transactional nature of sex, but Cappy will always say that even if it starts out where it's like a mutual like lust for one another, eventually it becomes a transaction. So even validational sex becomes sort of a transactional sex after a certain amount of time. Or you could just simply put it in terms of, well, she's only fucking you because she thinks that there's going to be a payoff down the road. And so therefore the validational sex that you're having right now is actually transactional sex, or just sort of by order of degree. And I wrote an article on my Substack, which, by the way, I should probably show you guys something here. In case you were wondering about my Substack and if it is it good enough to read? Well, yes, it is, because now I'm a Substack bestseller. Thank you very much. Yes, Substack bestseller. That would be me. Put me back up. There we go. I had to fight with you because I know that you're in there. I know you're in there too. Yes, I am now a Substack bestseller. Thank you very much. I've got, I think what does that mean? It's like over 200 or 100. I have more than 200 paying customers. So it's nice to be appreciated for my writing and my work once again. Yeah, so on Substack, I have an article on there that's sort of pertinent to all of this, which is guys who fuck and guys who don't fuck, and really kind of boils down to one of my old essays on the rational male, which is the difference between validational sex and transactional sex. And validational sex is the kind of sex where it's like the chick doesn't care that you are a sandwich artist at Subway. She doesn't care that you are a barista. She doesn't care that you are a homeless musician. She doesn't care. She wants you're hot. She was drunk, and one thing led to another, and that's how it happened. Like, you were the hot guy in the foam cannon party, and it doesn't matter that you're not a lawyer, and it doesn't matter that you aren't paid, inordinate amounts of money. She just wants to fuck, and usually that's because she's just hot for you, and the arousal is there. And I don't know. It's really difficult for me to talk about this stuff because I know that if I do, people are going to say, "Oh, this is a humble brag," or Roll is glossing himself again, or "Oh, here we go, another story of his rock star 20s." But I have been in those positions where it's like the chick just wants to fuck you. That's how it is, and the only thing you can do is fuck it up. The only thing you do is mess things up. And so I've been in those situations where I've played gigs either before or after the gig, and I've had women like sort of pull me into the women's bathroom to like get after it with me. And, I'll tell you another thing is, a lot of people were saying like my notch count is public knowledge, right? It's 41, right? But then I looked at the CDC's the way the CDC tracks it. And like a Hummer, like a blowjob is now considered sex. So I was like, God, I got to reevaluate. I got to go back through my head and go, well, it's probably a lot higher than
So
that.
we're in triple digits
according
now.
to that, because I've had, it is what it is. But that's just that. I don't think a lot of guys really appreciate validational sex versus transactional sex because that's all they've ever known. All they've ever known is transactions. It's like, well, she wouldn't have fucked me, or I wasn't her first choice, or she's always talks about that guy that she had in the foam cannon party when she was in Cancun on spring break, when she was in college, and she was so much crazier back then. And I'm like, well, yeah, but you don't understand that that's just not how sex always works. So when I listen to somebody like, say, Jordan Peterson talk about one side of hypergamy, like all he talks about is the beta buck side, the parental investment side, like the long-term security side, and thinks that's the be all end all. Like that's the only thing women focus on. When women only want to have sex because they're looking for a long-term commitment. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Do you know any actual women? Because I could tell you right now, I've been in situations where it's like that's all that it was. Like when I watch Jordan Peterson's videos on, or it's like his shorts, because he's got a million of them now, and these shorts will be something to the effect of, well, women who have casual sex are damaged. Women who have casual sex are psychopaths, and men who have, God forbid, don't get them on men, but anyone who happens to have sex for enjoyment, or there's no strings attached, right? Or maybe you're paying for it, right? And all it is just a sex act, and you're paying for an experience, just like anything else. I mean, like if you think about the things that you do just to get the thrill of it, like Kyle, have you ever gone like axe throwing?
Yeah, most definitely.
So what are you really paying to do? Throw a fucking axe?
I'm paying to fucking have fun.
Throw it at the wall. But you're paying for the experience. Or if you go rock climbing, or you go jet skiing, or you go like paraglide or whatever, you're paying for that experience. Like, how is that any different than paying for sex, right? Well, there should be more to it. There should be some cosmic importance to it. I'm like, yeah, but sometimes fucking is just fucking. That's all it is. And it felt good. She loved it. You loved it. It was great. You're probably never going to see each other again, or maybe you will. Who knows? You turn into a fuck buddy. But I'm not saying that's the ideal situation. I'm just saying that it is what it is. It happens. And just because you can't wrap your head around that because you fell in love with a woman who's going to be your wife at 7 years old, that doesn't mean that's the same fucking experience for everybody else. So again, I mean, getting back to like what Aaron Clary was saying, what should you just not pay for that experience, right? If you can't have like natural, innate, like feral lust, like if a woman has never looked at you and said, I want to fuck the shit out of you, right? Like, do you remember, what was it, Eddie Murphy, back in the 80s, part of his stand-up routine was like, what would you rather have? Would you rather have the woman who says, fuck the shit out of me, Eddie, or make love to me, Eddie? Like, which one would you rather? You want the fuck the shit out of you. That's the difference between validational sex and transactional sex. And so I think women try to sort of cover up the fact that they actually do enjoy having like hot monkey sex, right? But if you can get from point A to point B, and she's a good enough actress, and she pretends that she really wants to be there, you know, doing it. Like, it's like that's like that quote from Westworld, right? If you can't tell the difference, does it really matter? And again, it goes back to the to what Aaron was saying, as far as, you know, are men actually needed? Well, are men, and like the base premise of his book was something to the effect of men and women really just kind of don't, well, women in general don't really like men. They just don't like them. They just would rather, I mean, they're nice to have around. They're superfluous, right? They're needed when, you know, when they need to kill a bug, or they needed to like fix the plumbing, or they're needed to, you know, do manual labor of some kind, or they're definitely needed when Junior ends up in jail or has a drug problem or whatever else. When criminality is involved, then suddenly men are necessary once again, right? But I mean, and I think it's interesting that that's how that's the default of where we go to. So as soon as I mean, I'll probably dig into this a little bit more when Miguel shows up. If he shows up, it's okay. But before we do, now I have to sort of clarify things. I posted a tweet. This tweet was last night, actually, and now it's kind of exploded. I should go and look at it. Let's go and see how. I'm gonna look at it on Twitter. I posted this last night, and I basically said I've got receipts, and I do have receipts, but you have to understand that there's going to be a build up to this. And let me see if I can find it for you here. I'm not going to really put this on screen, because you can go find this on Twitter if you want, but I'm just going to read it. Where did I put that? There we go. Oh, so Jeremy Boring of all people got involved too. Do you know what Jeremy Boring is? He's he's like one of the main partners in Daily Wire. Jeremy, you need to be very careful here, because I have people. Where did it go? Here we go. All right. So I put this out last night. It's 15 hours old now. I've got 100% confirmed that Pearly Things does in fact work for or with the Daily Wire. Now, does she pull a paycheck? Is she getting employee benefits? Let's count the ways we can take this as literal as possible. So Rolo's not right. He can't possibly be right. Okay. Well, I've got receipts for this one, and I need to sort of give you the background as to how this happened. Okay. And the reason why I was kind of like fluffing up James Sexton here is because James is actually involved in this too. Okay. So before I dive in here, let me give you the preamble of all this. So here's the preamble for this. Where'd we go? This was a really good one. I'm going to throw this one up here. This is Piers Morgan, by the way. Okay. So Piers Morgan's people reached out to me. When was this? This was back on, when was this? This was about 10 days ago. How many days ago was this? I was happy as a pig in shit when I saw this too. I was like, oh man, this is great. I'm finally, Piers Morgan is like, their people are reaching out to me. Let me see where it is. Here we go. Now I'm going to blow this up a little bit. Hi, Rolo. Hope you're well. I'm Kieran. Aren't they all named something like that in the UK? From Piers Morgan's international show. Yeah, I know who Piers Morgan is. Thanks. Piers Morgan Uncensored, the world's most watched current affairs show. Is it really? I'm reaching out because I came across your work, and I was hoping you'd be interested in joining Piers for a debate about men in the 21st century. With a question mark. Well, absolutely, I would be. I've only been calling out your bullshit for, I don't know, 4 years now. I think our viewers would be interested in hearing your perspective on a number of issues. They never tell me what those issues are, but I'm used to that because this is exactly the same bullshit that the producers on Dr. Phil pulled when they asked me to be on the show. Got it. We have more than 2.4 million YouTube subscribers. Okay, that doesn't impress me because Tim Pool actually probably has more than that right now. We have over 600 million YouTube views. Still doesn't impress me. What I want to know is what your impressions are, what your impression rate is, what your audience retention is, and your CTR, of course, and what is audience retention, impressions, and CTR. Fastest growing broadcast YouTube channel in the world. Fastest growing. That's arguable. 69% of our audience is aged between 18 and 44. Cool. I'll take it. 21 plus million likes on TikTok. Yeah, you're that definitely. All of those are vanity metrics, guys. Kieran, if you're watching, those are vanity metrics. I want to know click-through rate. I want to know impressions. I want to know the click-through percentage. And then I also want to know what are your analytics? That's really what I'm more interested in. All of this stuff doesn't impress me because I know how YouTube works. Our shows tapes weekly on Monday and Wednesday between 11 a.m. Eastern time and 2 p.m. Eastern time. We'd be happy to organize an interview on a day that works for you. Hope we can make it work. All the best. Yada, yada, yada. Well, there you have it. Okay, good enough. So let's pull that out of there. That was about 2 weeks ago now. And when I got that, I passed it to Mike. I passed it to just a few select people that I thought would really like that. But like, I'm always cautiously optimistic about these things because prior to that, about 4 to 6 weeks ago, I had the people from Tim Pool reach out to me, or one of their girls who does the booking, apparently. And I don't know if this is for a fact or for real, but she has this in her bio anyways, that she is the I don't know, the content talent scout, I don't know, for Tim Pool. And she hit me up and she said, hey, hey, I want to get you in the in DMs. Can you, do you want to be on Tim Pool? And so I'm not going to show this to you because I don't like to put out DMs, but I can read it to you. Where did it go? So, well, where'd she go? See if I can find this chickadee. I have to give you the names because people are going to go, well, who was it? That wasn't who you thought it was. Well, okay. Well, you're going to have to sit and hold your water for a little bit here. What is her name? Oh, God damn it. Sorry, I got to look this up just because I have to cover all of my bases here because if I don't, people are going to give me shit for this one. Rolo got fooled by another email. Oh, no, not this time I didn't. What is her name? Well, there's Zuby. Not Clytus, not her. Sorry, I'm looking for this chick who. Well, anyways, it's not really even that important. What is it? Oh, here it is. Lisa Elizabeth. Lisa Elizabeth, producer of the Culture War Timcast, former congressional comms, UPenn, University of Pennsylvania alumni. She reached out to me. I said, "How can I help you?" I even gave her my number. I'm not going to tell you what it is. So you can call or text me. She said, thanks you. I'll give you a call later. My number is blah, blah, blah. So you can recognize it when I call. This was on February 6th. So today is March 3rd. Still haven't heard anything from these people. Haven't heard anything from Pierce Morgan. But so as you can tell, I was kind of primed and ready, let's just say, for another great, interview perhaps. Now, I'm going to give you another build up here. When Myron and Fresh decided they wanted to do a collab with the snake called Pearl, not my words, by the way, they were saying something to the effect that they wanted to do a show with Brian from whatever podcast and do sort of this, I don't know what we would call it, like Tradcons versus Red Pill. They want to talk about marriage. They want to talk about divorce. It was kind of like what I think Brian's actually pulled it off a couple of times because he knows Michael Knowles. And you want to know somebody who probably actually does collabs with Daily Wire. It's most likely Brian because Brian has had Candace Owens on. He's had Michael Knowles on. I'm trying to think who else. Oh, he's had Amala on from PragerU. I'm trying to think the other ones. But the safe kind of bro podcast or dating podcast or whatever it is, like Kick the Girls, Frank Castle podcast, is whatever. It's not, and that, forgive my language here, but this is my impression, is that I think one of the reasons why they like whatever and Brian better than Fresh and Fit, who they won't mention by name, is because Brian's the nice, safe white guy. That's why. And so ergo, you can have Farah and Jasmine Jafar and Pixie, who I kind of like Pixie, but you can have them on with Michael Knowles, and then they can have this back and forth, and everybody gets their clips, and everybody gets click-through rate, and everybody gets their shorts, and everybody gets some sort of pat on the back. They get their cheap, worthless engagement, well, soon to be worthless engagement. And I think Brian's pretty much been able to pull this off pretty well. So you'll have to forgive me going in. I've had Lisa Elizabeth from Timcast kind of like jerk me off and tease me a little bit, right? Here, I'll give you an edge job. Then I get Pierce Morgan's people, Kieran, whoever his name is, wanting to have me on, and nothing really panned out from that. That was like almost 2 weeks ago that came in. Well, there's one more offer came in, and I was floored. So I have to read this to you. This is how floored I was. So where'd it go? No, not that one. We'll come back to that. Hi, my name is McKenna Waters. I'm the associate producer for the Matt Walsh show at the Daily Wire. I'm fucking goddamn, man, jackpot. We would like to invite you to join a panel to discuss the issues of marriage. I will add the details of this panel below, which never materialized. Please let me know if you would be interested in attending. The location, Daily Wire Studios in Nashville, Tennessee. Gee, I wonder if they pay for transportation and hotels. Patrick Bet David. Let's see, March 11th or March 12th. I could even do that. I was even available. I would be happy to fly from Las Vegas, Nevada to Nashville. No problem. Ready to go. Other invited panelists, James Sexton, and lo and behold, Pearl Davis. Host, Matt Walsh. Man, this sounds fucking awesome. Doesn't this sound fucking great? This is fucking cool. Watch this. So this came to me at in the morning. So I know it says 2:46 at the top there. That's when I got the actual message. Let me tell you why. Because when this was on Wednesday. So I got this email on Wednesday. Now, I was moving my mother-in-law into my house in Reno because she's caretaking our house while I'm down here in Las Vegas, right? So I'm moving her and everything around. It took maybe 3 or 4 hours. She doesn't have that much shit. Then I got this at 2:46. I'm like, fucking A. And I instantly replied. So I said, yes, I would love to do that. Let me know when and where. Give me the logistics. Give me the details. I'd be happy to do that. And the original email was sent at 10:45 in the morning on Wednesday morning. I'm like, fuck yeah, no problem. Let's do this. And of course, you even with Pearl being on there, I probably would have run her up the flagpole, but I'm going there primarily because I want to be on there with Jim Sexton. I'm like, fuck, we can be on Matt Walsh. So I know we're walking into an ambush, but if I'm there with Jim, I know we can really make a dent in this. We could really do something finally do something, significant with these fuckwits, right? Cool. Well, that's not how they work, and that's not how fucking Pearl works. So here we go. At 2:46, I actually shouldn't say that, about 2:30, I respond. So let me set this up for you. I get the email. It comes in at 10:45 in the morning. I respond to it at 2:30 in the afternoon. So you're looking at like what? Let's round it off. So 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30. 4 hours. 4 fucking hours. Like I said, it didn't take me that long to move her. I send back a reply. I said, yes, I'm ready to go. Let's do this, baby. I get this instead. The Daily Wire panel invitation. Hi, Rollo. Thank you for your response. Unfortunately, since the time I emailed, I actually filled the slot. Oh, darn. That you would have been in. Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you for your considerations and reply. Best. See ya. Love ya. Mean it. Okay. Damn, McKenna. Sorry. I guess in the 4 hours that it took for me to reply to this, you filled that slot. I wonder who could have been that person that they filled the slot with. Well, one thing that you guys don't know is that Jim Sexton and I we're besties, man. We just, yeah, we're kind of giving each other back rows. We're just like, we're cool like that. He's a good dude. I'm a good dude. I've known Jim for quite some time. In fact, when Jim went on Soft White Underbelly, I reconnected with Jim. I know we hadn't talked in a while, Jim. I'll give you that. We reconnected. I was in, it was just after my daughter's wedding in August, and it was just after the whole Brittany Venti blow up, right? And I'm like, fuck it, let's do a show. And it was the first time I was in Tahoe, and I was at the rental place in the Tahoe Keys. Fantastic place, great place to do a podcast. I said, you know what? I'm going to just see if Jim wants to do a show. He did. And so we talked about divorce, and it's actually one of my best watched shows. You can check it out right now. I think it's up to like 150, 200,000 views right now. So I'm looking at this. I'm going, this doesn't fucking smell right. Only 4 hours? That's all. That's how long it took. You couldn't just say, hey, well, we'll wait for him till he gets back to me tomorrow. Like what if I was like doing a podcast? What if I was doing another show somewhere and I wasn't able to get to McKenna later on? Like, what the fuck? It's 4 hours. I'm like, this doesn't smell right. So I call my good friend Jim because I have him on speed dial. I could go talk to him right now. In fact, he was just chatting here just a moment ago. So I talked to him, and he goes, this sounds a little sketch. And I go, what do you mean? And he said, well, they sold me on this show because they said you were going to be on this show. And I'm like, well, damn, that's very peculiar. And I said, do you know who they're replacing me with, or who they've filled the slot with? He's like, no, they didn't tell me that either. But I wouldn't have said yes to just go on with fucking Pearl. I wanted to be on there with you because he knows, as well as I know, that Pearl makes off like a fucking bandit, clout wise, if she gets on with Jim Sexton, as she's been trying to do since August of last year, when I had Jim on in Tahoe and on that time. And he's now, granted, since then, Jim's become kind of a hot commodity. So James Sexton, divorce attorney, he's been on, he was on Lex Friedman. He was on, he used to have a spot on Steve Harvey's show, as a matter of fact. He's a good dude. He knows his shit. And I think a lot of people would like to have him on the show and really kind of take him to task, but they don't know how to do it. They don't know how to get him, right? And particularly not the Daily Wire. So I think really what the Daily Wire wanted was they wanted Jim. And I think what happens here is Pearl is the one who is engineering all this. Now, I smell a rat, but I don't have any proof until last night. So I'll just bring this one out here. Here's my proof from last night. This is from Sean Hampton. Sean Hampton, by the way, is Matt Walsh's handler, or he's one of his people. This is let's just say I have my sources inside the Daily Wire. And Sean Hampton is, I don't know if you guys are familiar. He's been on Matt Walsh's show before, but Sean Hampton is one of Matt Walsh's, I don't know if he's scheduler or logistics guy. Maybe he's the producer guy. I know he's one of Matt's handlers. This was sent to Pearl Davis, P. Davis, and Alyssa. I don't know who Alyssa is. Okay. Matt Walsh and Pearl Davis. Hi, thank you for your patience. Throughout this process, I just wanted to confirm that we are all set for March 12th and let you know we decided to go with Pearl's original suggestion of having two Daily Wire hosts, Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles, talk with Pearl and James Sexton. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you, Sean Hampton, executive producer, Bent Key Ventures, which of course is Matt Walsh's thing. So there's some receipts for you right there that they are in fact working with Pearl Davis. Black and white, 100%. Gotcha, bitch. So that plus, I think people already know the video from from it was Adam Sosnick's video. That was what 2022, I think, is when she was on with him. So long story short, more or less. Now here's the thing: is like people say, well, that doesn't prove that she's drawing a paycheck. Jeremy Boring. By the way, Jeremy, that was pretty good. That was, I'll give you props for that one joke that you had there. Maybe I'm just going to paraphrase it here, but like Jeremy Boring decided, he's like, hey, I can tell you 100% that she's not on our payroll. I'm not saying she's on your payroll, but she is making money with you, and she is logistically working with you guys. I have it right there in black and white. Want to tell me what that is? Want to tell me what that's all about? See, here's what happens. Pearl comes out and says, you know what? I'm doing this documentary on divorce, and I really want to get some fucking clout. I want to get some sort of legitimacy. This is how she fucking works, okay? I want some clout. I want some legitimacy. I can't get it from anybody else. Who can I get? James Sexton. Well, you know what the interesting thing is one of the reasons why Pearl Davis wanted to pass me quote unquote Brittany Venti nudes was to hand out an olive branch to get me to give her James Sexton. Fuck you. I am not giving you jack shit. And you know what? Jim just canceled that engagement. Gotcha, bitch. So is she on the payroll? Is she getting health benefits, Jeremy? No, she's not. But there are so many other ways to make money in this business that have nothing to do with like being on the payroll. She's not punching a time clock, put it that way. I doubt anybody who's like the host of Daily Wire is punching a time clock. So keep that in mind. I've got some other great shit here too. Yes. Like that? Bye, bitch. God, I wish I had my fucking sound drops. I need my sound drops for the show. So let me clear some of these out of here. I'll come back to you here real quick. That's a pretty deep question. Just wanted to support the OG listening of figures like you, Michael, Myron, and Fresh, which by the way, I'm still very cool with Myron and Fresh. Don't start fucking rumors. On the terrorist watch list, yes, for radical incel extremist groups is alarming and at the same time hilarious. Truth will prevail. Yeah, well, that's another reason why I keep my ears to the ground for shit like this, because these are the same people that are going to say Rolo's radicalizing these incels. He's the problem. And then of course I got James. Thank you very much, James, for your contribution. James will be here in Las Vegas, not Nashville, in Las Vegas, Nevada on March 14th, not March 12th, March 14th, right here. FYI, Bob says, before we get started, did you see the back and forth jab with Dr. Phil? Oh, it was Bill Maher. That's right. Yeah, it was Bill Maher. I was thinking it was Joe Rogan. Wasn't. You had anything to do with the influence or possess Dr. Phil because it was so hilarious? I haven't seen the whole thing. I've only seen clips of that. And now I have to kind of go see it. Some guy, hey man, thank you. Don DeMarco. Don DeMarco. I can't have my fucking drops, man. Sorry. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, my brother. Is human relationships so perplexed? That's a deep question. I'll come back to that in a second. Hang on. Don't worry, Token. I'll get to you as well. All right, so all I had to do was connect some dots. You're correct, but there's more dots to connect as well. This is old news. This is from Nuance Bro here. Now this is a while back. This was from July of last year. Okay, now this came after the infamous guitar video that Pearl decided to delete, but then Pierce Morgan decided to undelete and put on his show, and she looked like a deer in the headlights on this one. Why did Pearly Things delete the video of her playing guitar where she sings about why can't people talk about the Jews? Because her management team on Daily Wire. Do you have proof? It's Kobe DeVito. Yes, I know it's Kobe DeVito because I've seen the contract with Kobe DeVito. I don't know if I should show that, but I could show the top part of it, I guess. And Gina Bontiempo, who manages Candace Owens. Okay, I already know Gina. In fact, I think Gina was the one she was mentioning in the Adam Sosnick video. She didn't have many followers before they came along. Yeah, that's for damn sure. Here we go. Gina used to work for Candace. I thought she left that job. I know she did leave it because I think she got pregnant. I resigned December of 2021 after my daughter was born. Yeah, okay. But are you managing Pearl or with her in any capacity? Yada yada. I've never worked with her or even met her. Okay, so this is where Pearl will quote. See, look, I didn't. It's not Gina. It's DeVito, or was it? What's his name? There, Kobe. Yeah, okay, that's the guy. It's Kobe DeVito. That is the one to. That's the name to look for. So don't get distracted by the Gina Bontempo thing. Is she married to that other talking head? What the heck was his name? He's a conservative pundit. I want to say it's no, I'm thinking of Bongino or Bongiano. Maybe they're not related. But it doesn't matter anyways. It's Kobe DeVito that you need to, who is actually the one that's behind there. And then of course, just recently, she's copped to the fact that she doesn't do her own. Well, I mean, maybe she does her own tweets, but she's already farmed out her Instagram to other people, which by the way, again, not saying anything necessarily wrong with that, because I know a lot of people farm out their clips and everything else, but especially for Instagram, right? But like if I go and I look at, say, like Chris Williamson, or I look at just some like bigger name accounts, the only one I can think of off the top of my head would be Chris, is they don't really do their own tweets. Maybe they do a few here and there, but they farm it out to a team. I would argue that Pearl is definitely big enough to farm out to a team. Certainly her Instagram. Hell, I mean, even Mike Sartain like farms out to a team. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but don't try to like bullshit people and say, oh, I know I do all my own tweets. You don't do your own tweets. Also, Michaela Peterson is the one who is doing the tweets for her father. And will cop to that, has said so on several occasions. So anyways, there you have it. Now, why would this be a thing? Well, let me also point out one more thing here, just so you know that I'm not full of shit. This is from Jim Sexton, and this is what he sent me. I had a conversation with him on the way into this studio this morning, and this was what they told Jim. Hello, my name is McKenna Waters. So just so you know, I'm not full of shit here. They reached out to myself. They reached out to James. They reached out to, I don't know, whoever else, because I don't know who was replacing me. Actually, I found out who was replacing me. It was actually Michael Knowles, which was the original idea from Pearl. I am the associate producer for the Matt Walsh show at the Daily Wire. We would like to have you on, blah, blah, blah. And basically it was the same thing that I was. Issue of marriage. What else? Details of panel below. It was just a carbon copy of what I got. So just so you know, I'm not. That's from Jim. So I didn't like go into Photoshop and just make some fake ass email. They reached out to Jim. They reached out to me. 4 hours later, they told me to go pound salt. So to me, that says that this entire thing was engineered by Pearl, because Pearl really desperately wants some sort of legitimacy, because she's doing a documentary on divorce right now. And nobody wants to play ball with her because she's got a very bad fucking reputation. Nobody wants to work with you, Pearl. Certainly not me. Certainly not Jim. Stop fucking asking. All right. I also know that you tried to get him in, was it Manhattan or New York about a few months ago? And then your people badgered him after that. No, the answer is fucking no. No, I'm not going to legitimize you, because that's what she was trying to do. She was trying to use my name to bait and switch Jim into being on that show. That's exactly what happened. All you got to do, here it is. God, this is such a good get. There you go. Pearl's original suggestion, and have 2 Daily Wire hosts, Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, talk with Pearl and James Sexton. Any questions? Any questions? So there's your receipt. Oh, Roland doesn't have any receipts. Okay, well, please tell me, you know what? Please go and verify that for me. I would love to know. And let's see who else. Jeremy Boring, talk to your staffers. I think there's a leak. There might be a leak. Oh man, there you go. All right, I'm not going to gloat. I don't want to say anything, but I will say this, is that anybody working with Pearl, if you're working with Pearl, you're not working with me. If If you're working with Pearl, you're working with a snake. This is what she fucking does. Why is it so fucking hard to wrap your fucking head around this? You're only her friend for as long as you're fucking useful to her. That's how this works. So she is working with Daily. Clearly, she's working. Well, she's certainly working with what's his name, Sean Hampton. All right. As far as I know, I've seen him on Matt Walsh, Daily Wire. And so I'm having this conversation with Jim Sexton. I will probably pick up on this later on with Jim when he comes out here to Las Vegas. But it actually took Jim to sort of remind me of this. He said the reason that she wanted me on the show was because she's looking for legitimacy. And he says, I would have never agreed to go on that show just with sitting next to Pearl, because all Jim Sexton does is legitimize Pearl sitting right next to him. And therefore, oh, well, she must know what she's talking about with her divorce thing and everything else because she's got Jim Sexton there. And it's basically this endorsement, right? Rubber stamping Pearl with a guy who, by the way, I told him, I said, avoid Pearl like the plague. She's a snake. I said, avoid, and this wasn't any being mean or anything. I said, avoid Fresh and Fit, at least for the time being. This was back in August. Because he was doing shows like Lex Friedman. He was doing Soft White Underbelly. He's already talking with the guys from Joe Rogan. There's a lot of, I can't like tell you 100% what's going on in the backfield right now. He's talking with some big fucking heavy hitters, like real media companies right now. And I told him, I said, you're taking a chance even talking to me right now, because if Joe Rogan sees that you're on with Rollo Tomasi or Fresh and Fit, which he has called those bottom of the barrel podcasts, and you get the stink of me or Myron and Fresh or God forbid Pearl, you're never going to get on Joe Rogan. You're never going to get on the bigger name shows just by associating with me. I'm like, I almost felt bad like for having him on my show, because then like that association sort of makes like suddenly he's a bottom of the barrel guy, right? I didn't want that for Jim, because he has a very important message. He's about it. And the way that I know Jim is about the red pill and he's about what he talks about is, first of all, he's professionally invested in it, obviously. But he makes money, a handsome amount of money, being a divorce attorney, and doesn't necessarily need to be doing a podcast to make money. He makes quite a bit. Thank you very much. Right. But he's like a professional, or he's like an expert witness. And so he's like, Pearl has wanted to get Sexton on since he was on my show. And that, by the way, was one of the reasons why Glenn Lawrence wanted to pass Brittany Venti nudes to me, thinking that I was going to want these fucking things that Pearl Davis had, talking to Martina Marcota. I already showed you those on last week's podcast, so I'm not going to reiterate that again. But in an effort to hand me an olive branch so that I would give her James Sexton. I said, no, get the fuck out of here. Prior to that, it was, what was it? It was the Steven Crowder leaked divorce depositions, which weren't actually even leaked. And I'm like, no, I don't want to have anything to do with her. Please stop fucking working with this person. Please. And again, like, if you are going to work with Pearl, you're not going to work with me. End of story. And it's not that I'm being an asshole about it. It's not that Rollo's paranoid. He got burned on the 21 convention. Yeah, I've heard those fucking rumors as well too. No, I'm paranoid for exactly what I just showed you just a minute ago. So like, once again, I'm fucking right. So from that perspective, what are you going to do about it? You choose to work with this person. Trust me on this one. As I said what was it? In 2022. In 2022, on the Rule Zero end of the year show, I said by August of 2023, you wouldn't recognize the manosphere. I was right about that. Actually, it was probably more like June, but I was right about that. And I'm right about this. Come November 6th, the day after the election, everything fucking changes. I have seen this happen. I've gone through several election cycles. Candace Owens used to be called Red Pill Black in 2015. So you want to talk about is the Red Pill radicalizing kids? Well, why don't you go and ask Red Pill Black? She's already working for Daily Wire, who probably her days are numbered there. But she's already there. She decided she wanted to take red pill as some sort of moniker because that was what the kids were all talking about during 2016 when Trump was going up against Hillary. Then what happens? Oh, let's go back in time. I need the time warp. 2019. That's when Anthony Johnson decided that he wanted to give up on the red pill and he wanted to go all in on the fucking political shit. That's why he was talking to Cernovich. That's why he was talking to Stefan Molyneux. That's why he was talking to what's that guy's name? Roman, whatever his name is, the guy who turned into the mass shooter. That's why he was talking to those guys, because he wanted to pivot into politics. When 2019, right in the buildup, when we're getting into the election cycle, right? He hasn't taken off that fucking MAGA hat. He must shower in that thing. He hasn't taken off that MAGA hat since like 2018. So that should show you just how psychotic these people are. I'm not the one who's fucking paranoid here, okay? I'm the one who's calling this shit out when I see it and it comes out. And by the way, there'll probably be more. And when we get to November 6th, when we get past November 6th, the whole landscape changes. And I will tell you this, all the fucking roaches that scatter when you turn the lights on, I remember every one of your fucking names. Trust me on this one. Everybody who bails out and runs away, everybody says, oh, I'm not red pill, I'm red pill adjacent. Okay, red pill adjacent. Trust me, I will be the one to point out your hypocrisy. I'll be the one to point out the fact that, you're not living it. You want to preach it, but you're not living it because it paid the bills for a little while. How dare you destroy the romantic fantasies of 80%? What you think? You think she's a romantic fantasy? Rolo, they have a saying in Chicago: once is happenstance, twice is coincidence, third time it's enemy action. You already had Pearl at 2. Thank you. I know, and I hate to even do this to you. I hate that this is like my first fucking show here in the nice new Southern Command Center. Long-time watcher, first-time caller, love your work. Red Pill has given me the tools to increase my quality of life and fix my marriage. Oh, say that. That's Kim Bartlett, who looks like he's playing guitar. Yeah, Kim, do me a favor and post that on like Twitter so I can repost that. Because right now all I'm seeing is oh god damn it, it's what's Kyle, what's Steven Crowder's wife's name?
Oh shit, I'll find it right now.
She was just mouthing off about the red pill. She wants to pile on. Everybody wants to pile on the red pill right now. Oh, imagine that. And you know why? Because they look at Pearl and they go, oh, that's the red pill.
Hillary Crowder.
Hillary
Crowder.
Hillary, there you go. Right. Hillary Crowder. You know why? Because they saw this shit right here.
Shake it for the camera. Shake it for the camera. Shake it for the camera. Shake it for the camera.
This was so here's the funniest thing about that whole, so that went viral. And so what happens is you can't put a video out like that without like referencing the red pill. Like, red pillars think that these young ladies having a good time doing this dance wherever the fuck, they couldn't even tell you where it was. They don't even know the context. They have no earthly clue. But if something like that starts going viral, let's go hit the red pill. And that's exactly what Hillary did. That's what that religious chick, I can't remember her name. Everybody wanted to pile on. And you know what they said? They said, the red pillars want to see these girls in burqas or hijabs or whatever. No, niqabs. They want to see these girls in niqabs or burqas, whatever it is. And why can't they get their story straight? I'm like, why can't you get your story straight? What's funny to me is like they want to say like the red pillars are like the new moral majority, or they want to cover yourself up, woman. Get in the kitchen and start, I don't know, churning butter. Like, turn yourself into some Amish Dutch country girl, and start making like homemade bread or some shit, like carry a baby while you're doing it. That is what tradcon, tradfem, trad thought women think that the red pill is about. And you know why they think that? Because of fucking Pearl Davis. That's why. Because of tweets like, oh, I think 16-year-old girls are hotter than 26-year-old girls. That's Pearl, quote unquote, right? That's Pearl. So, all I can do is point things out. I just work here, man. Your last stream was so compelling that you dropped truth bombs and F&F audience that they provide to them, and that's incel mukbang porn. Mukbang porn? The fuck is mukbang? Don't look that up. Please don't.
Do you
look
know
that
what
up.
a mukbang is?
No, what is it?
It's basically a food series thing that people put on YouTube where they all eat ASMR type shit.
Oh God,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, okay. Definitely don't look that up. I told you, I warned you before you go and do this shit. Oh, so this battery died. Okay, no worries. We got to get the dummy battery for that one. Sorry if we seem unprepared, because we were unprepared. There's only one dummy battery right now. Yeah, so we'll make do, make the best of what we got. Do you like the new studio? I think the new studio is great. We're gonna make some improvements here. I've got some plans for the back wall. I like the big video monitor. We got a lot of good shit coming up. Let me see what I got here. Yeah. So, anyways, what else do I have for you today? Oh, well, I already went through Pearl. I don't think I need to hammer on Pearl anymore. I did want to put this one up here though. This is pretty good. I talked about this a little bit last week. Men and women's brains do work differently. Scientists discover for the first time. Okay, so this actually came out, I think, the last week of February. So this is like fairly new. Now, why am I bringing this, like reheating this again? Primarily because Mike Sartain is doing. Maybe it's right now. I'm not really sure, or maybe I think it's 4:00 our time. I have to think in like two time zones. He's going to do a debate video with Destiny and who else? Oh, it's on I forget the guys. Alex from Playing with Fire. I guess he's hosting. Congratulations, Alex, for getting all of that engagement from Mike. But he's got, everybody wants to get Destiny for somewhere. Like, why on how is Destiny like an expert on fucking everything in the world? Like, I want to know, because Destiny was just on Pierce Morgan. That's one of the reasons I kind of got excited about the Pierce Morgan thing, which I still think is a hose job. I think they're just like, throwing shit out there. Everybody wants me to be on their show, and then I never tell anybody that, oh, Pierce Morgan hit me up. I mean, I told Ryan, I told Mike, right? Who else did I tell? Like a couple people. And generally it's because I think I show this to them. I go, do you think this is real? Like the whole thing and then when I got the invite from Daily Wire to be on with Matt and well, apparently Michael Knowles and James Sexton and Pearl, I didn't tell anybody about that. You guys are just hearing about this right now. And the reason why is because when I see shit like this, I don't believe it. Oh, you're being paranoid. I'm not being paranoid at all, motherfucker. I know, because this is exactly what fucking happens. And I'm right once fucking again. But so with that in mind, like I'm looking at Pierce Morgan, and it was Pierce Morgan. Oh, and it was Destiny, and it was, God forbid, I love my favorite girl in the world, Tommy Lahren, discussing Israel versus Palestine. I'm like, of all the people you could get to have some like very intelligent conversation about which has been, a geopolitical problem for quite some time now, and you think Destiny and Tommy Lahren would be a good fucking combo to really, let's get some things done and hash some topics out here. Let's get down to the nitty gritty with Destiny and fucking Tommy. Really. I'm not saying if for instance, I would not be a good candidate for that show. Okay. And everybody's like, oh, clearly you wouldn't be. You don't know anything about that. You're right. I would probably be like, you know what? I don't really think that I'm the best qualified guy to talk about this, because I don't talk about politics. I don't talk about religion. I don't talk about race. I don't talk about any things that are just particularly those topics. If it crosses over into intersexual dynamics, then yes, I will talk about those things. I wrote a whole book on religion and the red pill. Okay. Yes, that's fair game. I would not just talk about religion. I'll leave that to guys like Dalrock. I'll leave that up to guys like, hell, even Andrew Wilson. I leave that to the professionals, right? If that's your topic, go ahead. I'm not going to get involved in that, but I will tell you how the intersection between religion and sexuality or intersexual dynamics, that's fair game. That's my wheelhouse. Politics, I'm not going to tell you, you should vote for Trump, you should vote for Biden. That's like, I have my own opinions on that, but I'm not going to do a podcast about that. I can tell you why Trump beat Hillary Clinton, because that's intersexual dynamics. And now we're game on, and I'm happy to go and do those essays and talk about shit like that. But I don't talk about like individual things particularly, right? Well, black guys are stealing our white women. Okay, fine. That's not my wheelhouse. You go over there and do whatever you want to with that. Oh, Rollo, will you talk about the red pill ramifications of interracial relationships? Sure. Let's go. I'll be happy to talk about that. Right? But I don't talk about just those things. But apparently there's no limitation for a guy like Destiny. And everyone wants to think that this guy has some sort of like background in statescraft, right? He's like fucking Henry Kissinger or some shit like that. Like he knows what the fuck. Like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You're this fucking vacuum salesman from Nebraska, for fuck's sake, or wherever it was, right? Like, who the fuck is listening to this? And I'm like, who is booking this guy is what I want to know, because it's not, I don't care about Destiny. Who's the guy that says, it'd be a good idea? Why don't we get Tommy Lahren on this show? And we'll pair him up with Destiny. The kids love him. Let's get him on here. Who the fuck is doing this? And it's because he was just on Lex Friedman with Ben Shapiro. And by the way, Destiny just collapsed. And you know why he collapsed? Because he doesn't have his fucking phone.
Pivot.
No phone, no tablet, no connection to his hive mind on Discord or Reddit or wherever he gets his hive mind comes and feeds him information from. And just me saying that, now I'm incurring the wrath of the hive mind. But like who thought that was a good idea? Even Lex Friedman, like Lex, like, really? The only reason you want him on there is because he's a hot commodity and it's Ben Shapiro. I'm surprised Ben Shapiro even agreed to it. So don't tell me like these guys don't know who I am and they don't know who the rest of these guys are, right? Especially Jeremy Boring right now. Jeremy Boring knows who the fuck I am. Clearly, if he's working with Pearl, she's not working for him, she's working with him. Clearly, there's some sort of connection there, and clearly my name has been in their mouths at some point because they're sending me. they're using my name to get James Sexton. God, that was great. Thank you. You know what? I should probably say this right now. James, thanks for like being a sport about this whole thing, because he didn't have to be. He didn't have to. He could have just told us all to go fuck off, right? But Jim's a cool dude, and this will definitely be a topic of conversation when we get to it when he's here, March 14th. Maybe this is a good. What are we at? We're at the top of the hour. So March 14th, we will have Jim Sexton here. He'll be on Access Vegas too. We're going to put him in with the girls. Sorry, I don't know if I told you this yet, Jim. We're going to put you on with the girls, which I don't think he'll have a problem with. So we're going to do that. Then we're going to do a one-on-one. And then I have a feeling that a lot of people are going to want to see James on their shows. And I will be happy to, if there's other podcasts here, maybe even like Dan Bilzerian might want to do something with him too. Because we've been talking to Dan ever since I got back down. We've been talking to Dan's been a little bit more on our minds. Oh, there he is. Come on. Come in. Oh, there he is. No, it's okay. Come on. You can just sit down. We're all casual. I'm in the middle of the stream right now. That's all right. Nobody knows it. Nobody knows that we're actually doing a show now. Yeah. Oh, okay. This just in. Hold on, let me come back out of here. I just got an update from Jim Sexton. He says, email Daily Wire and told them I'm out. I'll forward you the email now. Okay, should we read that one live on stream? While I'm waiting, Neo Darka says, after years of learning, I have internalized all the lessons of the red pill, and now that I have found others that have now been unplugged, I understand your frustrations in explaining the red pill practices. You saved my life. Thank you very much, sir. I'm glad. I'm glad you're still with us too. Really? Okay. When are you going to start selling merch? Hopefully internationally. So I actually do from the fishing village in Chile. I do sell merch already, but it's only on Access Vegas right now. Now that I'm here, I'm probably going to start selling merch. I've got 2 people in mind that I need to get on board with helping me do it, but I'll probably do all the creative. So, probably pretty soon. We have a lot of irons in the fire right now. Miguel and I have some projects that we really want to do. And so that's something that's coming up. Let's see. Okay. Here we go. Well, this just in. Shall I just read this to you? Here we go. Okay, I'll just read this out. Is it okay if I read this, Jim? I think it's okay. Okay, so here it is. McKenna, this is great. McKenna, apologies for the weekend email. It was brought to my attention this week that the panel for the proposed show would now be Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, myself, and Pearl Davis. While I very much appreciate the invitation and would welcome the opportunity to engage with Matt, Michael, or any other of the Daily Wire team, I would have to pass on the panel in this permutation. Spoken like a lawyer. If it was as originally proposed, Matt, Pearl, and Rollo, or even Matt, Michael, Pearl, and Rollo, I would feel differently, as Matt and Michael would be representing the traditional conservative religious perspective on marriage, and Pearl and Rollo and more red pill approach to it, with me as the in the trenches practicing divorce lawyer for over 23 years, who also writes books. He's got a great book, by the way, on how to stay married. In this permutation, Matt, Michael, Pearl, and me, it would look like Matt and Michael on the side and myself and Pearl on the other side. And to be candid, I'm not really comfortable looking like I'm on Team Pearl or giving her perspectives as my stamp of approval. I'm not familiar with what qualifies her to be discussing the topic of marriage with the frequency she does. So she is not a mental health professional. She's not a divorce lawyer. She's not married, to my knowledge. She's not. No personal disrespect intended to Pearl, but I just don't want to try to be on the side of a debate with someone who I don't really feel comfortable endorsing the perspective with. With Rollo not there, and Michael added, it feels like a debate where I don't really know my partner and her qualifications, because she has no qualifications. I'd be comfortable discussing marriage and divorce with Matt or Michael anytime, with Rollo, or even solo without a partner. See, there you go. Pearl, what are we going to do about you? Yeah. Are we sure about that, Glenn? Are we sure about that? Are we 100% sure about that? I'm not sure you're the best. I'm not sure you're the best character witness, to be quite honest. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Let me get back to some of these real quick here. Marriage causes divorce. Is unconditional love real, or do women want value? This goes back to what I was saying before when we talk about like prostitution. I break it down into 2 different things. I break it down into validational sex versus transactional sex. So the validational side of of sex is like true desire, like natural, innate, burning desire. Thank you, Fresh. Lust, arousal, just sort of like that. She's going to fuck you no matter whether you make a lot of money, whether you have a yacht or a Lamborghini, doesn't matter, right? Versus the guy who has to qualify for it. It comes back to an old, like, it's a maxim of the red pill, which is women will break rules for alphas and they will make rules for betas. So breaking the rules for the alpha is what you're saying is unconditional love. Unconditional love for alpha, sure. Is unconditional love real though? Well, here's my take on love. Love is an emotion. So it's just like happiness. Is real happiness real? Is happiness real? No, it's not. It's just in the moment, right? You have to remember that emotions are what push us and motivate us to certain behaviors. So what does love motivate us to? To self-sacrifice, to altruism, to to sacrifice, to I mean, you think about I'm thinking about it in terms of like male, like the male mind, right? But it could be for women, it could be nurturing. When we think about, it's funny, is when we think about like the more noble or like virtuous aspects of like masculinity or femininity, they're all tied with the emotion that is love. And so when we talk about duty or respect or even just respect among men, right? There's this sort of this mutual love between men, and not like in the sexual nature, but like in the sense that like I respect someone who has done something that is respectability. So there's sort of that appreciation is, I'm not saying it's exactly the same thing, but it's rooted in love, in the emotion of love. And even if that's just what an aspirational kind of thing, as opposed to like a different style or different type of love, right? But I think really what you want to get at is do women want value or do women want love? Okay, one is an emotion and one is a practical function there. Okay, so is unconditional love. I personally, you're asking me like my opinion of this. I would say I come to it this conclusion is that there's no such thing as unconditional love. There is a condition under which you will fall out of love, even with your family members, even with the thing you love the most. There is some existing condition. It might be an impossibility. It might not be even in the realm of thinking about it. But there is something that is a condition that will break that. There's always a deal breaker. Doesn't matter what it is. But that shouldn't dissuade you from the emotion. It's just that if you're going to look at it in a pragmatic sense, love is always conditional because it's an emotion. There's some things that will trigger it and some things that won't. Do women want value? Yes, of course they want value. That's the practical aspect of it. So don't think that just because women want value that it invalidates the emotion or the feelings of love. They're both, in fact, if anything, they're both kind of like symbiotic. There's a synergy between the two of them. Is human relationships so perplexed today? We determined that what wiped out the dinosaurs before determining how men and women can get on the same page. That kind of goes back to what Cappy was saying in A World Without Men, is that if we don't figure this shit out, then I don't know, societally things start to break down. And so when you hear like these sort of man up guys on in tradcons, traditional conservative circles, it's always this man up message. It's always do better. It's always be better, do better, but it's not be better for you. It's be better for women. We need men to be better for women, because if we don't, then society's going to collapse. How do you save the West? Well, we need to have men become better men because we want them to be better men for women. Well, that's bullshit. And all bets are off. And we live in the 21st century right now, and we have access to information that we never had before. So with that in mind, we have to look at put things into perspective. I think the biggest disconnect between men and women, and also between like sort of this old mindset or this old ideology versus this new, is that we live in the 21st century and we keep thinking in terms of 20th century solutions to 21st century problems. And that's not helping us in any way. So there you have it. All right. Yeah, this was too good. Let me put this in again.
Yeah, shake something for your boy like. Yeah, shake something for your boy like. Yeah, shake something for your boy like. Yeah. You must be crazy.
I think it was Chase. Was it Chase who said something else? What was it? Oh, he said this is like the decline of the West, like decline and fall of the Western civilization. You know what's funny is there's actually two movies. One was Decline of the Western Civilization Part 1, and then Part 2. Part 2 was the metal years, and it happened in like 1986 or 87. And the first one, Decline and Fall of the Western Civilization Part 1, it followed the punk scene in Los Angeles, and I want to say the Bay Area too. And then the next one was the metal years, and it was like all the guys who would play like the Troubadour and Rock. I'm going to name names here: the Troubadour, the Rocks. I know the Troubadour, the Roxy, Gazzari's, Whiskey. I'm trying to think of the other one. Anyways, they would go out and they were interviewing all of these kids, basically, who would come even as far away as the Midwest because they wanted to make a big name for themselves. And I thought what was funny is that because this was like my generation, right? So I'm watching all this sort of unfold. It was a documentary. They actually shot a documentary about this in the mid to late 80s. And it was really good. It was a really good show, but it reminds me of this because everybody today is still having the same like panic attacks, like this moral crisis. And I was like, they're just having fun. Just let them fucking have fun. Okay. But let me see this. Emotional intelligence as a meme is female correct and simp correct. Yeah. Emotional intelligence does not qualify as intelligence. And I'll tell you why, because, well, first off, because men and women do not have different brains. Stanford medicine study says so. Identifies as distinct brain organization pattern. So having the different architecture, I've said this on the show several times, is just because men don't cry at the end of Titanic doesn't mean they're emotionally stunted. It means that our brains are wired differently, right? So if we're going to look at emotional, and like that right there should tell you right now, just this fact right here, and this one right here, the blue brain and the pink brain, like just the very fact that the architecture is different means that men and women don't interpret and don't process emotions the same way. So who's more intelligent and who's not? Men or women? Who gets to be the smart one? And well, when we talk about emotional intelligence, it's really rooted in a female dynamic, right? So men are less emotionally intelligent than women. Why? Because they don't emote like women. So if that's the norm, then they must be doofuses and they don't get it, right? They don't cry at the end of Titanic. There must be something wrong with you. Well, you didn't cry at the end of Saving Private Ryan. So there must be something wrong with you. It all depends on what the normative is, right?
Hey, Rolo,
Yeah.
why did they let women and children onto the boats first?
Women and children first? You mean on Titanic?
Yeah. Why did they let them do them first?
All right, is that a serious question or is there a punchline to
No,
this?
there's a punchline. There's a punchline.
Okay, what's the punchline?
It's so they could so the men could think of the solution quietly.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what's funny is like I've written 2 articles about this, 2 essays about this. Do you remember there was I don't want to say a shipwreck. Do you remember when the Costa Concordia sank?
Yes.
The Costa Concordia was like a cruise ship. And this was like back in 2014, I think. And it sank slowly. And so, they had no problem like getting everybody off the boats, and it wasn't a problem. But like in the first couple of hours, they didn't know that, but they had time to think about it. And so like all these guys are just like, fuck it, I'm out. There wasn't like, it wasn't women and children first. It was like every man for himself kind of thing. And like the feminists of the time wrote about this and they go, what happened to chivalry? What happened to going down with the ship? And they're like, this is the fucking 21st century. What are you talking about? And it makes me want, and then of course I wrote this article about kin altruism and everything else. I try to go like real deep and cerebral about it, but people just want to say, oh, men ain't shit. But I think that if there had been maybe a little bit more time on the Titanic, guys might have got it. Like there was room in the fucking lifeboats.
Yeah.
They said that there was room in the lifeboats. If women have different brains to men, should women be allowed to be divorce judges? Do women judges see women as wonderful in the need of more money? Yes, they do. Which is one of the reasons, like you got to remember. So I'll explain to you what the women are wonderful effect is. I have to read it to you. But the women are wonderful effect is actually a psychological, sociological effect, right? Remember, and why is that? Because eggs are cheap, or eggs are expensive and sperm is cheap. So there's, I think, a root level innate understanding of like the preservation of the incubators of the next generation. Therefore, men and women think that women are generally wonderful. That's why you've got, that's why when you go around and you ask people with a microphone or whatever, I know some street party or some shit, do we need men? Do we need women? That's why men say, yes, we need women. And women will say, fuck men, we don't need men. So it's all part of the women are wonderful effect. So should, you're asking me a should question, and I will give you an answer, but understand that I have to give you the sort of analysis before I get to the best practices here. So should women be allowed to be divorce judges? I think it kind of depends, but I think in aggregate, no, I don't think so. simply because I think a lot of women will say, well, then that means that all the men will be judges and then the men won't give us what we need. No, because male judges suffer from the women are wonderful effect just as much as the female judges do. Let me see if I can call this out real quick here. Women are wonderful effect. You can even look this up. Just type into Google, women are wonderful effect. The category women elicits more warm feelings than the category men. This phenomenon has been described by social psychologists as the women are wonderful effect. Many individual women embrace and find protection in the warm feelings people tend to have towards women. All right. Go to Wikipedia, even Wikipedia. From Wikipedia, the women are wonderful effect is the phenomenon found in psychological and sociological research, which suggests that people associate more positive attributes with women when compared to men. This bias reflects an emotional bias towards women as a general case. The phrase was coined by Alice Eagley and Antonio Mladinic. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. In 1994, after finding that both male and female participants tend to assign positive traits to women, with female participants showing a far more pronounced bias. Positive traits were assigned to men by participants of both genders, but to a far lesser degree. Authors suppose that the positive general evaluation of women might derive from the association between women and nurturing characteristics. This bias has been cited as an example for benevolent sexism. There you go. So that's the women are wonderful effect. So it's actually a psychological, sociological effect. In case you were wondering, how does he know all this shit? Pay me. I have no money. Alpha up. There you go. Thanks, Carl Bennington. Thank you for your contribution. Oh, let's see. Mama is not the law. I am the law. I actually have that as an intro. Let's see. I'm still waiting on Miguel. It's okay. I kind of wanted to talk about prostitution thing. Like there was yeah. Would you like to talk about prostitution? Let's talk about hookers. We're in Las Vegas. We can talk about hookers, can we?
I mean, technically they're legal here, but outside
it's
the county.
legal.
Legal outside of
Look,
the
there's
county.
dollar cost crypto right there. So like I was saying before, I was listening to Aaron Clary's book, and really, man, I hate to say it, like it kind of affected me. Maybe this is an effect of the last, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, but like it's like the MGTOW effect, right? The men going their own way effect. Maybe a little bit of black pill doomerism in there, but I will say this is Aaron Clary has learned how to write for the audience at this point. So I was thinking, what's the point? Like I've had guys ask me this in the past too. They would say, what's the point of being what's the point of getting a relationship? Why get married? What James Sexton, what problems does marriage solve? And I think that's almost better than, like, I've heard this a million times where guys will say, like, what can I get in marriage that I can't get with outside of marriage? Like what benefits are there? And there's also then what happens after that is just this cost to benefit ratio, debate that never really goes anywhere. And then it usually devolves into some religious thing. Right. So my question is this, like, what problems does marriage solve? I think that would have been a better, see, this is why I fucking hate Pearl, man, because that's a question I would have loved to put to Matt Walsh. I would have loved to put to Michael Knowles or Ben Shapiro. Like, what problems does marriage solve? And let them just sort of twist in the wind. Now we'll never get that opportunity. Thanks. But I would love to get the input on especially on the traditional conservative. And I know what will happen. They'll just simply fall apart with they'll do what's called Jesus smuggling. it'll be something to do with, like, here they'll try to give you a cost to benefits analysis, and then when they get sort of hung up, they'll just say, well, the Bible says this. So But like, really, what does it solve? And I could tell you right now, it's like, I enjoy being married. I'm not going to say I don't. I love my wife. I kissed her like really passionately before I left because I went to work today. This is my work. But I really enjoy my time with my wife, and I've been with her for 27 and a half years now. And by the way, I finally introduced her to Kylie, which is Kylie Magaha. That is Mike's girlfriend, and they hit it off. I mean, and there's quite a lot of years between the two of them, and they really hit it off, right? And like, oh, we're gonna go shopping and we're gonna do this. I'm like, yeah, great. Go take Mike's credit card, not mine. He's the one with the platinum card, not me. But no, they hit it off, and it was really cool because it's like, my wife is like probably a good 30 years older than Kylie, right? So I thought that was interesting because like here I am hanging out with Mrs. T, and it was a good time. I really like being with her. I don't have any problem with her. I still enjoy sex with her. I'm very much in love with her. But so when people say, well, what problems does marriage solve? And I mean, you could say, well, it solves loneliness, but go get a dog, right? I mean, it solves what? And I don't think it's so much a problem to be solved. I think it's more of a lifestyle choice than anything else. And fewer and fewer guys are really making that choice for themselves, either by necessity or not. So like when people say, well, maybe you should just go pay for it. Maybe it'd be better to go to learn how to use an escort, or you learn how to go hit up women online or something like that. Maybe those are the courses you ought to be teaching, right? And I'm like, yeah, well, that solves one problem. I can tell you what problem prostitution solves. It solves you getting your dick sucked, basically. What do you got here? Who pays the most for intimacy? The husband who buys the diamond ring, or the John who pays $150 at the Moonlight Bunny Ranch? Do all men pay? Well, that's funny you should say that, because that's exactly what Aaron Clary kind of gets into in, well, the Book of Numbers for sure, but also in A World Without Men. Because we've gotten to the point right now where we've had women in this man up world, and we've masculinized women and we've feminized men. And now we're kind of don't know what to do with each other, because women have become the men that they want to marry, and men have basically become, shiftless losers. And that's the number. You'll hear this over and over again on Access Vegas and on other podcasts, is women don't like men because they think they deserve a guy that is like leaps and bounds above what their own like perceived value is. So would prostitution then solve prostitution would solve a problem that marriage apparently can't? Don't ask me. I just work here, but yeah, I mean, this is like, it kind of gets back to what Aaron was saying, or even James Sexton, if it fucks, floats, or flies, then it's better to rent it. Right. I don't know. I think there's something to be said about having a lifelong marriage. Even when I have talked with Jim, when we were having our discussion in August, I brought it up with him and I said, look, I've been married for 27 years. And I'll tell you, the thing is like, people think I'm against marriage. I'm not against marriage. I'm against the way we do it now. I'm against the way that it's been formalized. I'm against I'm against the divorce machine. I'm against I didn't see it coming. Oh, she turned on me. I don't know what I was getting myself into. I got no prenup, blah, blah, blah. I don't have a prenup. I'll tell you that right now. I had like 2 fucking nickels to rub together when I first got married. I could tell you what my liquid assets were when I got married. I had a white 1979 Toyota pickup with no tailgate. And I had a Randall half stack, and I had 2 guitars, and I had my pedal board. That's about all. That's my most valuable possessions. That's what I had when I was 27, 28 years old. Oh, well, you didn't get a prenup. Well, yeah, because she had more liquid assets than I did back then. Now you could say, well, you could go get one now. I'm like, yeah, I could. But I think at some point you kind of realize, like, I'm the one that retired my wife, right? I'm the one that took her out of her work situation, and she no longer works. She hasn't worked in like almost 2 years now. Yeah, 2.5 years. And I brought this up on Saucecast because Adam Sosnick asked me about my wife on the last time was November, and he was like, "Is your wife work?" I'm like, "No." I said, "I retired her about 2 years ago." And he was like, and everybody's like, "Yeah!" It was like this big applause thing. I'm like, "Why are you applauding? Why are you applauding?" It's like it just seemed practical at that time. I would much rather have her, like, helping me out and being, enjoying herself, of course. But it's not like she's like sitting around watching Oprah and eating bonbons or some shit like that. It's just like it was more of a practical decision. But again, what did that solve? It solved some problems and created some other ones, but I don't mind doing it because I love the company of my wife. What do you got here? Pearl is the Mickey Mouse of the red pill. She's the mainstream icon that they have attached to the movement, a la Pierce Morgan. Love your content and will continue to support Di Brava. Okay, so let me just see if I can put this in down to earth, simple terms everyone can understand. Pearl Davis is the retarded kid that they hand the football to at the end of the homecoming game. And they say, "Go run into the end zone. You're going to win the game for us, retarded kid." And the retarded kid goes off and carries it. "Yeah, I won." Yeah. And everybody in the stands like, "Hey, retarded kid." Yeah, right. That's Pearl Davis. Okay. She's the retarded kid who gets to run the football into the end zone, and everybody says she scored a touchdown. That's pretty much what it is. Now, that might make you feel good, but now she's really kind of a foil for, okay, let me put it this way. Is she drawing a paycheck from Jeremy Boring? No, she's not. Is she profiting by her association with Daily Wire? You're goddamn right she is. So there's lots of ways to sort of profit by clout jacking other people, which is exactly what she was trying to do with Jim Sexton. And I'm proud to say that Jim is no longer going to do this interview, and probably I will never work with Pearl ever again. Good. He don't need you. You need him. And the only way you were going to get to him was through me. So, in fact, so much so you dropped my name and then promptly withdrew my name. So thank you, but fuck you. If that's the kind of stuff that if that's the kind of, shenanigans she's going to resort to, then I don't know what else to tell you, man. You're the one stupid enough to work with her. You're not working with me. I'll quote Rich Cooper again. I don't work with retards, and I don't work with retards who work with retards. So, and that was, by the way, that was reserved for Anthony Johnson back in the day. Now it's reserved for other people. So, if you're going to legitimize her, and here's another thing I wanted to thanks for that. Another thing I wanted to point out is, oh, thank you, Sam Whiskey, much appreciated and much appreciated. Pop the pop. So if that's the case, if Pearl is willing to go to the extreme, if she's going to go and pull that kind of shit, what's she going to pull with you? I mean, really, you're only as useful to her as it is for her clout, right? So if she's going to have some sort of association, if you're going to co-brand with her, that's who you're co-branding with. And if it's more expedient for her to get clout by throwing you under the bus, trust me, she'll throw you under the bus, just as she'll throw me under the bus, just as she'll try to get clout from James Sexton by dropping my name and then promptly pulling me off there to bait and switch Jim Sexton into going and doing this, because ultimately she just wanted Jim on there. And the only way she could get that was by putting my name on that ticket. Already proved it, showed you the emails. I don't know what else to tell you. But if you're stupid enough to work with her, then you're not working with me. And I said the same thing about, I should also point out, people can say, well, do you have a problem with Kevin Savo? I got no problem with Kevin Savo. And again, it's not personal, it's professional. Like, I like all the people I still work with. Like, I like everybody from Rule Zero. I like Glenn Lawrence. I like Kevin Savo. I like these people, like personally on a one-to-one basis. I really like these people. Okay. But I can't work with you because you're working with a person who will pull this shit. Okay. Done. I'll hang out with you. I'll go have I'll go eat sushi with you. You can have a beer. I don't drink, but you can go have a beer, whatever it is. I'm happy to hang out with you, personally, friend wise, but I'm just not going to work with you because she wants to sit next to a guy like Jim Sexton. So she looks like she can bask in the fucking glow of his clout. That's why. And she will do the same thing to you. And as soon as that clout, as soon as the fucking shine comes off of that penny, she's off to the next fucking penny. So just keep that in mind when you're working with her. And that, by the way, that's not just some veiled threat or some sort of aside. I'm telling you nuts and bolts facts right here. Okay. If you're going to work with her, this is what you can expect. How many different ways do I have to fucking say this? So there you go. But yeah, she's the Mickey Mouse of it. She's definitely, here's the other thing is, beyond the crowd, the fuckery she's pulled, like she's also trying to do this. I mean, ostensibly trying to do this in the interest of doing some sort of documentary on divorce or something. Like she's been doing that. She's been talking about this for years. Where is it? Where's the outline? Who's she working with? Who's the fucking director? Where the camera people? Where the sound people? Who's doing the post production? Where is it? How's she going to get distribution? If she had something going on, she'd be able to she would show you, here's the outline. Here's the prospectus. Here's what you're getting yourself into. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I know damn well she came out and tried to get Kevin Savo and his brothers to go and do the shooting for fucking nothing. Yeah, we had that conversation too. Now, you guys can go take that up with whoever else. But if you're just doing this on a fucking shoestring, I just did a feature interview with these guys from Rebel Entertainment. They came out. We shot my segment out in is it Gene Roach? Yeah, Gene Roach Dry Lake Bed, which is about 15, 20 miles south here. It's where they shoot all the car commercials and stuff. They wanted me to go out there with my Camaro. They did another segment with Miguel. They did another segment with Aaron Clary. They did a segment with Mike Sartain. I think they might have done one with Myron and Fresh when they were here. They shot some, I think probably some B-roll. They were at Babes in Toyland. They were on it, and they have a full professional director. They have a producer. They have the camera people. They got the sound people. They got people that bring you fucking coffee. Where is that, Pearl? Nowhere. So don't give me this bullshit about we're just trying to do this stuff for the documentary. You don't have a documentary. There's no documentary. You're not doing shit. If you were, we'd already see it. It'd already be done. You're still talking about it. It's not about a documentary. It's about fuckery. Stop the fuckery. Nirvana or Foo Fighters? Nah, Nirvana. The original. I know. Kurt Cobain. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Poor Kurt. You know what? You want to know why? You want to know why Kurt Cobain offed himself? It's because of Courtney Love. It's all Courtney Love. I blame her.
Nah, she killed him.
You think so?
I think so.
Yeah, she might have. I'll give that to you. Foo Fighters is woke. I will, but here's the thing though, is Dave Grohl, I like Dave Grohl because he brings kids up onto the stage to play his music or whatever it is. He'll bring people up them there and say, hey, do you know actually how to play this song? Yeah, I do. I've been playing it. That's all I've been playing until this show started because I knew you were going to drag me up on stage. That was pretty good. Oh, let's see. Trust me, Rolo, go on Tim Pool. Tim is blue pilled. No, Tim is involved with Lauren Southern. That right there should be enough to fucking that. I should have just said no on principle. I should have just said nope. No, thank you. I should. God, I don't know. I have to be careful. I have to be careful of measuring and parsing my words here because when people say, well, Rolla didn't really prove that she is working. She's not an employee. She doesn't like clean the floors, or she doesn't have a locker or janitor's keys to the fucking Daily Wire studio. No, that's not what I'm saying. I mean, I'm saying is this is the kind of shit that she'll pull. And really, trust me, everybody right now, and I hate to say this because I know enough. It's not just Myron and Fresh. It's not just Pearl. It's not just Brian. I think a lot of the formerly big names in the quote unquote red pill space are going by the wayside very soon. Not yours truly, because I don't rely on the same kind of revenue stream that they do. But if you look at, I mean, Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate, I hate to say this too, but like I saw a video just recently of I think it was an interview with Andrew, and somebody asked him like, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? And Andrew's like, I think I'm probably going to jail. Like he literally said that. And I was like, fuck. So I think it's starting to sink in for them. Myron and Fresh doing a collab with Pearl. That's like a sign of the fucking apocalypse, man. I mean, the idea that they would ever like do something, it's like, is that a desperation move? Like, oh, we got to collab with her because if we don't, we're that desperate for clout. I'm like, why would you do that? Especially when I see her that desperate for James Sexton's clout. I mean, is that the economics of clout right now? Like, it's clout-onomics to the point where you pull shit like that so you can sit down in the same room with Jim Sexton. Have we gotten so desperate that like Myron and Fresh think that collabing with Pearl is a good idea? Have we gotten so fucking off track that we think that someone like, I don't know, Michael Knowles is a good I don't know, expert witness to go on whatever podcast? Are we so desperate that we think Destiny and Tommy Lahren would be a great fucking interview on Fierce Morgan to talk about Palestine and Israel? I think like that's how fucked up we are. I guess so. You don't think it's a collab? Okay. So what qualifies? You tell me what qualifies as a collab and what qualifies as this is just a show, right? Because I heard some other motherfucker talking about how if I ever did a show with Pearl, that I must be a demon, or I must be a hypocrite or whatever. I said I would go and do a show with Pearl, and the first thing out of my mouth would be I would ask her about this now, first thing, but it would be the Brittany Venti thing. It would be why did she think writing a song and playing some song about the Jews was a good idea? What's her situation? I would just run her up the flagpole. See, here's the thing is like, people take this shit so fucking literally. Like, we lost our fucking collective sense of humor somewhere in 2019, 2019. No one, I put this as, like, as you guys know, I've been writing this book called Maxims. The first maxim in the book is never use allegory, metaphor, sarcasm, hyperbole, prose, poetry, lyrics, stories, whatever, anything that's sort of like a metaphor for something else. Never use that online, and never use it on Twitter. Because the minute you put something out there, you can even, it doesn't have to be your own words. You can quote lyrics. It could be fucking Drake lyrics. It doesn't matter. It could be anything you want. Put any kind of metaphor out there and people will take it literally, because you can't put anything out there without telling people how to fucking feel about it. Do you understand? There you go. Don't do a show. Well, trust me, after this show, well, that's probably never going to happen. You're never going to have to worry about me doing a show with her after this. Yes. No. You could put out anything on you. I had this conversation with Ryan Stone, and I said, Ryan, you know what I ought to do? I ought to go on. I said, I wonder if we could do this. You go and pick up a copy of the Tao Te Ching, right? Or some sort of like Zen kind of thing, or the Bhagavad Gita or something like that. Or Confucian, like the wisdom of Confucius, right? Some fortune cookie wisdom thing. Hell, you don't even have to do that. Just eat a new fortune cookie every day. Take the fortune that's out of the fortune cookie and then just type it in, and people will think you're this wise fucking sage of the ages. Because it's like, oh wow, that's deep. What is he really? I mean, well, they'll pick it apart. but you're usually using some kind of prose, or you're using some kind of analogy, some kind of metaphor that you got out of the fucking fortune cookie or the Tao Te Ching, or Confucius say, the best time to plant a tree was 30 years ago. The next best time is today, right? You go and throw that on Twitter, dude, you can make a living off of that. You can make a living off of that bullshit. And so we started posting it out there. We did something similar. It was called there's a site called New Age Bullshit Generator, and it was AI before it's AI, but like now you probably could do something better with AI. But if you said, AI, generate me 10 phrases that sound like new age pablum, right? And it'll come up with 10 of them. And I bet you could take those phrases and you could do you would be able to fool people. You could go, okay, is it new age bullshit or is it Jordan Peterson? And people wouldn't be able to tell the difference. I guarantee you they wouldn't be able to tell the difference. But never use prose, never use allegory, never use metaphor, because there's always somebody online who's going to take that as literally as possible. And so if they don't like you, if you don't tell people how to feel about some information, that's what they will do. They will take it as literally as they possibly can. So when I say I have 100% confirmation that there is at least some sort of collaboration, some sort of collusion, some sort of co-branding between Myron and Fresh and Pearl, or I don't know, Daily Wire or whatever, people will split hairs, and they will split them until they feel better about it. And it's like dealing with cognitive dissonance, and you've got to find some way to sort of square that circle. Don't worry, I'm not going to do anything with Pearl, for fuck's sake. Jesus Christ. Because people are asking me like, oh, will you go on a show with Pearl and Myron and Fresh and Jim Sexton and Mike Sartain? And I think what's interesting about that is the collaboration, or the panel show that Pearl was trying to engineer here today, was something that was discussed about 4 weeks ago. And this was before Myron and Fresh did their show, collab show, whatever, split that fucking hair. Go ahead and take that. But we had discussed this, and I'll tell you, I'll give you the breakdown. I'll just tell you straight up. I had Brian call me up from whatever podcast. I like Brian. I talked to him. He called me up. He said, hey, what if we did this show with you and Myron and Chase about trad cons and red pill guys? And he basically Brian is pretty much a profiteer. Like if it's hot, he'll go after it. And I was like, you know what? I don't really necessarily want to do that, but if they were into it, they would. But I knew at the time there was no way on planet Earth that Myron would ever do a collab with Brian, because they're competitors. They were I don't say enemies, but they were certainly like competitors. I brought it up with Myron, and Myron just laughed. And this isn't the first time there's been sort of this suggestion that Myron and Fresh go on whatever podcast or vice versa. You'll notice that Brian never goes on anyone else's podcast. He's never left that studio. He has never done any appearances on any other show but whatever podcast. Quote me on that. I invited him. I said, hey, why don't you come out to Vegas? Still won't come out and do it. He only stays in Santa Barbara. He will not leave the safety and the comfort of that studio. And I think it's because I know he'll get pressed if he does. And whatever, if that's how he is, that's how he is. But he hit me up and said, hey, can you get Myron and Fresh? I said, well, I'll ask, but I think I know the answer already. And the answer was no, I'm not going to go. They didn't want to. And then I got another call from Myron saying, hey, I want to do this show. And he wanted to have me on there and Justin Waller on there and Lila Rose and Chase and have this back and forth. And I'm like, hey, that's a great fucking idea. But the problem with that is that nobody wants to do the logistics for it. So what do they say? Hey, Rolo, can you put me in touch with Chase? Can you put me in touch with Brian? Can you put me in touch with, I don't know, whoever the fuck? I'm like, I'm not going to run this shit down for you. I will do this show myself before I go and run the shit down for you. And so they're asking me to do this and hey, let's get this together. And wanted to put me and Mike and Justin and then get Lila Rose and get, who else was it? Chase from whatever podcast and and Michael Knowles or whoever they could get. Literally Michael Knowles and some of the names from Daily Wire were mentioned. And Myron wanted to do it. Like, hey, can you come out to Miami? Can we do it this? Can we do it that? I'm like, I'll be happy to do it. You get it organized. Tell me when to be there and I'll show up. But other than that, I can only like I can put you in contact and give you, you know, text messages and contact information to people, but I'm not chasing the fucking shit down. Right. And then Myron and Fresh decided to come out to Las Vegas and we did a show with them, me and Mike. And then and that was a fucking great show. I think that's probably one of the best shows we ever did. It was myself, Mike, Marquette from Saint and Sinner. I hope I'm saying it. It's Marquette, right? Marquette? It's not Marquette. It's Marquette. Yeah, people press me on that. They're like, "Oh, you need to say his name right." I'm like, I thought I was. But Marquette was on there, and then we had Jake Shields was on there as well, who's a MMA fighter. And it was a there's no women. Oh, and then Cappy and Aaron Clare. God, I can't forget Aaron. Aaron was with us as well. It was a fantastic conversation. And you know why? There was no bitches on there. It was just us talking like men the whole time. It was what a fantastic show. I was hoping that was going to be a show that was sort of like a preface to something that was going to be bigger, or some bigger, greater show that we could do, where it's like I put the call out. I said, if you are really about it, if you're really get behind your convictions about your traditional conservatism, your marriage vows, whatever it is, if you're Matt Walsh, if you're fucking Michael Knowles, if you're Candace Owens, if you're Ben Shapiro, Jeremy Boring, you're invited all of you are still invited. You can come to Vegas. I will book the fucking studio for you. I already did it once. I'll do it again. And that show that I did with Marquette, Aaron, Jake Shields, Myron and Fresh, myself, and Mike, that was supposed to be the sort of like show up and we'll have the discussion. Nobody fucking showed up. So, okay, I'll be happy to do it again. I'll be happy to organize this. I'll tell you right now, McKenna and Sean Hampton and Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles, if you guys want to come and talk to you, honestly are about it, and you want to talk to me, and you want to talk to Jim Sexton, come out here on the 14th. Come here on March 14th. You were going to do it on March 12th anyways, right? Why don't you 2 days later come out to Vegas? I'll already have Jim in Sticky Paws. You got Sticky Paws Studios in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'll book the time. We can have that show. You could still do everything. We're going to do it live. It'll be a live stream. I know you guys are uncomfortable with live streams, but we'll do a live stream with all of us, and we'll have that same discussion minus Pearl. You come out to Las Vegas and I'll be happy to produce that entire show for you. You won't have to do a goddamn thing but show up and pay for your hotel. How's that? That's all you have to do. You guys got more money than God, so come on out. You won't do it. I know you won't do it because we've already tried to do it with you guys. But if you want that same show, bring it. Oh man, what do we got here? Marriage causes divorce. Darwin was laughed at when he discovered evolution. Discovered is a relative term. Copernicus was laughed when he discovered the sun at the center of the solar system. When will you, red pill, be accepted into the mainstream? I hope never. I don't want to be accepted in the You really want me to be like rubbing shoulders with these motherfuckers? You really want that? Oh, I don't. Carl Bennington. Hey, how dominate in bed without being narcissistic freak like 50 Shades of Grey? You don't. Please be more narcissistic. Nice studio. Thank you very much, Rational Trucker. Thank you for the $99. Don DeMarco. Here's something to keep the lights on and buy some cables. Yeah, Lord knows we need a very long 1/4-inch cable to go from here.
Guitar Center
there. So we're going to Guitar Center after this. I suspected Pearl wasn't legit after saying on Jed's show, "I'm just an entertainer." Thank you for the reminder. I wish you could play your Pearl sound drop. How's Ned doing? Ned's good. Thank you for asking. Ned's at home right now. So Ned made it down. No problem. We got out before the storm hit. We left the day early because there was a massive Sierra storm that was coming in. As I said, it was like 36 or 38 inches was up in up in Lake Tahoe. I'm kind of sad, to be honest with you, because that means there's a lot of good fresh snow up there that I could take my sleds out on. But I will probably end up doing that around my birthday in April. Yes, my birthday's coming up. You're old. Yep. He's got an adamantium paw. No, they actually he used to. He does have Wolverine super healing though. No, they took the plate out, so he no longer has hardware. Well, he's got hardware in his back leg. He doesn't have hardware in his front leg. Never say, "Do you like dominate men?" It's a beta tell. Act dominate. Dominant. Thank you. English, motherfucker. Do you speak it? Let's see. Acted. Well, I mean, okay, Carl, I don't want to be flippant with you. It just basically comes back to explicate, do not, or demonstrate, do not explicate. That should be it. Canceled again. Who's canceled? Who got canceled? See, now I'm going back through all of these ones. Yeah. Oh, Grandma Tomato. You know what's funny is like people think that this like affects me, and so you think she's a grandma. Like, thanks. All that says to me is like you follow destiny. Thanks. Bye, bitch. There you go. There we go. Sabertooth. Yeah. You know, I'll tell you the thing about I was funny. I was just thinking about this on the drive back because now you got to remember I'm 55 and Mike's 46 and Kylie is what is she 22 right now?
Yeah.
So like when I deal with like Mike and like Sterling Cooper, for example, Sterling is 50. No, it's 50. No, Sterling is 35, and then Mike was 45, and then I was 55. Like there's about 10 years difference between all of us. I don't even think about like age anymore. And when I see like my wife, who's in her 50s, gets along very well with Kylie, who's 22, who's actually younger than our daughter. I get to the point where I think a lot of like, it's not just intersexual dynamics, but it's like a lot of human relations is changing as a result of social media and having an awareness of more. I think there are more people, like more diversity of people, but more diversity of ages is something that we kind of take for granted right now. So like I was writing these articles. Well, there's one, no, it's the essays that ended up as chapters in my my fourth book, in my religion book, about respect, like, and how respect is sort of a gendered concept. And then it kind of struck me, like there used to be a concept of like having respect for your elders, right? It used to be like if you would have respect for your grandmother and your grandfather because they were supposedly had more like wisdom than you, and they could impart wisdom. They still had some sort of like social value because of their age, right? Because they've been through more heavy shit than you. And so they can give you like good advice, and they can sort of direct you and like you like bring up the next generation, at least have some sort of influence in bringing up their grandchildren at the very least, right? And so I think like I get this all the time. People will say like, "Roll, you need to act your age. You need to be a normal 50-year-old." They think I'm 50. It's what's funny is to me is like they think that 50 is like really super old. And like I look at guys like Robert Kiyosaki, who I talk to like probably certainly every 4 or 5 days, right? Robert, by the way, shares a birthday that's close to mine. He's like April 8th and mine's April 2nd. He always wants to do a birthday party where it's me and him, and we're having a birthday party, but it always ends up as like some sales pitch for his like sales team and stuff like that. Like, I'll do it with you, man. But it's like, can we just like go and party and have a good time first? Like, don't turn the whole thing into it. But he's 70. Well, I guess, God, he'll be 77 coming up April 8th. And I don't think of Robert as all that old, right? I mean, hell, we got his books are right here. I don't think of him as that old. And, you know, he reads my book and we have a lot in common. We talk all the time. Robert just had open heart. It's heart surgery. I don't know if it's open heart, but it's heart surgery. And what's funny is he calls me up and he's in the recovery room, and Robert will say, "Hey man, it's fine. I know when he's had surgery, he's been sick." He'd be like, hey, Rolo, I just want to say I really love your book. Because most of the time he's like all up on, like he's like hyperactive. His eyes are like really wide open. And but like I don't think of Robert as being all that old. I have a lot of respect for him, but I don't think of him as being like all that old. And then like I see Mike's 46 now. I'm going to be 56 on April 2nd. No, not 76, not 86. I'm not 106 fucking years old. Thanks a lot. Because every time somebody gives me shit, they're like, they up the age by another 10 years. But like I was seeing how my wife was interacting with Kylie, and it's just like they're just like two sisters. Like they just get together and it's like they're hanging out, right? And I'm thinking about this. I'm going, you know what? I think in the 21st century, I don't think like age makes that big a difference right now. So when people like try to give me shit about like, oh, your grandma Tomashi, I'm like, yeah, but you don't know who I am and you don't know what I do. Like, what do I do that gives you value? Like, what about me makes me respectable? Because clearly I'm doing something right and you're not. So, you know, as far as like, I don't really see age as being a thing anymore, because like I'll do like hell. I mean, the Savo brothers are in their 20s. I'm happy to talk with them and work with them. I don't see like Mike as being all that old. And so when people have a really tough time dealing with Mike and like women mostly, when the age difference between him and Kylie, you know, what will they ever talk about? They don't have anything in common. They do now. They do in the 21st century. All that old, the people who think that like shaming you for being old or shaming you for like being like Mike's age and then fucking a woman or, you know, having a girlfriend that's 22 years old, they think that shame works. It doesn't work, especially for somebody who's as valuable or high value as Mike. It simply doesn't work anymore. And it doesn't work because, again, you're trying to use 20th century shame in a 21st century society, and there's no frame of reference for it anymore. Wait, I saw something back up here. Age is definitely a thing. Okay, tell me how it's a thing. How is it a thing? Please tell me how age is a thing. Like I had this guy on because you're the second person I've asked this, by the way. I was on Twitter and I had this guy who was talking shit about like how I need to start acting like a 50-year-old. Like, well, what do you think I act like now? They didn't have an answer. And then I said, okay, what does a normal 50-year-old guy, and I'm not 50, but like what does a normal 50-year-old do? Can you tell me what's normal? Please, Mr. Random fuckwit guy, like name and a bunch of numbers guy. Why tell me like what you think is normal? And of course, they can't even answer the question because they don't know themselves. What do you want me to wear? Like Dockers and a brown shirt and have a big fucking muffin ass? Is that? I'm in better shape than probably 90% of guys who are half my fucking age right now, which is a goddamn shame. Like I look at the obesity rates and I look at like you know how overweight guys are. I was reading this article recently about how they had to lower the standards for enlistment for the army. Oh, for yeah, right. I mean, for being like overweight. And so they had to lower the standards. Like, that's okay. If you're a fat ass, we'll take you anyways. I'm like, at my age, I can't join the army. I can't join the Navy because I'm too old. I'm aged out. Right. But I'm in better shape. I can do more pull-ups than 90% of the enlisted guys who are the cadets or whatever the fuck they call it, boot camp. Right. I'm in better physical shape than they are, and I can't join it, and they can. Go figure. So tell me, Pearl's inflatable kitty. Like what? Tell me how it's a thing. What should I look like? What should I act like? Should I dye my hair like white? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's a touch of gray.
A touch of gray, salt and pepper.
Yep.
There you go.
Silver fox.
What was it? Hibbert, very true. Not saying we shouldn't respect our elders, but knowing historically what social depravity their generation brought on makes it more difficult to have respect. Yeah, you're talking about the boomer generation, aren't you, Kate? Yeah. And that's another thing. It's like, I think that's like when people start talking about like, oh, you're a boomer. Shut up, boomer. I'm not a boomer. I'm Generation X, you fucking idiot. This guy was born in 1968. Generation X. I lived through the 80s. I saw all the cool bands you guys still jerk off to. Okay, Garrett, you only had to do this once. Really? You're 52. Your wife's 30 with 3 kids. Are they your kids? They're your kids, right? They're not somebody else's kid. She's 30 years old. She's had 3 kids. Holy shit. When did you start fucking her? At 20, 25? We have 3 kids now. Your kids? I hope so. I hope they're your kids. This is good. This is too good. Soon the army will be on Ozempic. Semaglutide, baby. Oh yeah. See, now we're at the end of the show and I can fuck around. I kind of want to talk a little bit about prostitution though, because I don't think we talked enough about. We didn't talk enough about pros, man. Fuck. I gotta wait till Miguel gets here. Maybe I'll save that for. You know what'd be cool? It'd be cool to talk about prostitution, with modern prostitution, with Cappy, with Aaron Clary and Miguel. I think maybe I'll set up a special show. See, that's the great thing. You guys don't realize this is that like now that I'm here in Vegas, I can do shit like that. I like, hey, you want to show up? Let's go. And everybody guys shows up and we do it. Right. So if you want to, like, I'll tell you this right now, man, you guys are fucking served, man. You're on notice because I'm in fucking town now and I got access to this. I have access to Access Vegas. I got this studio right here. And I have to talk to them next week, but I'm going to be going over to the guys at Viewit, Veuit. Viewit is a large scale, big scale studio for podcasting here in Vegas. They moved, actually, I shouldn't say they're this is the satellite sound stage, I guess, for lack of a better term. And it's, if you guys think that, if you've ever watched Valuetainment, if you've watched Adam Sosnick's show, and he's on the big stage right there, that's how big the Viewit stage is. You could do an Adam, if you want. Adam, come to Vegas too. Let me steal you away from Valuetainment. Come on out, man. It's not just a studio though. It's also a contender for Rumble and YouTube. And the way that I really need Miguel to sort this out, because I don't know the technicalities of this, but the way that they do their video serving, you own all your videos because it's on blockchain. So you do all your stuff. You can't be, I mean, you could probably get sued like independently, but you can't be taken down or demonetized from Viewit because it's all based on blockchain network. Hold on. In your culture, in my culture, I'm white. I don't have any culture. What the fuck are you talking about? Do you know what I am? In your culture, is it cheaper to rent human beings for pleasure that is needed? Is it really needed? Or do you people? What do you mean we people? What you people? What do you mean you people? found on that, or do you people found on that, or do you people found on that? Frown on that. Frown on that? No. Okay. Snuggles 668. Please, after you're done with your ESL classes, then start like tweeting again. Okay. Or coming back in. Yeah. English as a second language. Thank you. I already did his too. Let me see if I can get in here. Anybody else? All right. Man, I have the outro music queued up, but I'm afraid to play it because I had to do it through StreamYard. All right. Let's see. So there you have it. Any questions, comments, please? I will be, this is kind of like the debut of this show in this studio. It makes no sense. Of course it does. Yeah, I did. I moved. Well, okay. Well, that deserves some explanation. Thank you, Triple X. So I'm in Vegas now. Consider this my Vegas residency. You know what residency is? It's when like bands like the Jonas Brothers or is it Scorpions? The Scorpions are in residency here too, aren't they? Yeah. And then like Celine Dion is in residency. Like Carrot Top is in residency. It's basically all these entertainers that they basically live and do shows in nothing but Vegas, and then people come to see them like in Las Vegas, right? So this is the Rollo Tomasi residency for Las Vegas. I rented a place out. I have a year's lease, so I'm here for at least a year. And that doesn't mean I'm leaving Reno. I will probably still be doing shows from Reno, but I probably won't get to do them until like probably end of May, beginning of June. I might do a few over the summer up in Reno, but I'm going to be, for the foreseeable future, I'm here. I made the move, semi-permanent move to Las Vegas because there's more that I do here, right? I would love to be able to get, like, Aaron Clary's here. I can do shows with Aaron. I do shows with Miguel. We have a lot. There's reasons for this. Not the least of which is I really want to make sure that this studio gets off the ground, and this is my baby. This is my project right now. Access Vegas. We're going to be doing Access Vegas. The idea is to do it every week now. So we're doing it every Thursday, except for this Thursday because we have to go do Babes in Toyland, I think. So if we're not doing a special event, then we're doing Access Vegas every Thursday. And the reason why we did that is no. I already tried on Miami, brother man. No. I'll explain to you why here. So I'm here because there's more that I do here, and I kept spending more time here. I have a car here. Actually, I have 2 cars. I had a car here. I kept flying down. I was staying with Aaron Clary for the longest time because Aaron's kind of a snowbird. But now Aaron's here most of the time. So I needed to get a place, and I was spending a small fortune flying down here all the time from Reno. I was spending a small fortune staying at like hotels and resorts and shit like that. And I'm just like, it makes better practical sense to have a place here. And when my daughter was going to UNLV, she no longer is, don't stalk her, please. We had a condo, and I let the condo go, and I kind of wish I hadn't now. So that's why we got this place. My dogs are here. My wife is with me. She'll probably be here for most of the time. And then in summertime, she's going to take the dogs up to Reno. We'll probably spend some time in Lake Tahoe, I guess, probably in the summertime as well. So technically we're kind of snowbirds, but I'm here because there's just too much stuff that I have going on, and I really need to be in Vegas and be a local here. So that's why I moved here. And we've got all kinds of cool things happening soon. I'm currently listening to the series in the audio and the audio sucks. Any chance? Which book are you talking about? How does it suck? Tell me, please. You have to be more specific. 5 favorite guitar players. Oh, geez, here we are. These are the end of show tweets. Okay, this is like, hey, you can ask. I don't care. You can ask me whatever you want. Of all time, or like what I'm listening to now. Let's see. Let's do all time. Well, Eddie Van Halen, Randy Rhoads, Nuno Betancourt, which you guys have seen me put his videos out here. So Nuno Betancourt from Extreme, like probably one of the best guitar players. I'm thinking of like that in that genre. I also like Paco de Lucia for Latin guitar. Segovia, I guess. I'm trying to think of like outside of the box here.
I was gonna say no Jimi Hendrix.
Hendrix is good, don't get me wrong, but like he's not
all time, which I understand.
He's definitely up there, don't get me wrong. Let's go with modern players now. Tosin Abasi is probably my favorite right now. I forget the guy's name, but he's one of the guitar players from this band called Kill the Lights. That dude is fucking great. Tosin Abasi. And then, by the way, Tosin, I forget the guy who's in Animals as Leaders, the other guy who's the other guitar player, but Hispanic guy. If he's not as good as Tosin Abasi, he's like only like 1% less as good. Tim Henson from Polyphia is pretty good too, although he's not the most masculine guy in the world. But that dude can play the fuck out of guitar. Trying to think who else I like that's a modern player. Definitely would put those guys on the list too. I think that's probably enough. Robert Trujillo. Robert Trujillo's a bass player, is fantastic. You know who's like, okay, let's talk about bass. Dave Navarro from Jane's Addictions. Oh, okay. He's good. Like he plays with good feeling. I'm trying to think of like technical players. Definitely good. Slash is actually from Guns N' Roses. Slash is really good, but he's like a bluesy guy. I'm trying to think of good blues players too.
Jimmy Nolan.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like Delta blues, like gritty Delta blues players are really good too. Oh, you know who I think is Joe Satriani. Well, yeah, you know Joe Satriani is playing in the circle right now with Sammy Hagar, Michael Anthony, and John Bonham, and which kind of I really liked Vic, who was the guitar player, Vic Johnson. Vic Johnson was really good too, but they got Satriani now, and I think it's probably because they really need an answer for Eddie Van Halen. Yeah, Jason Bonham was good. Steve Ray Vaughan. Okay, if Steve Vai's good. You know when Steve Vai was at his best? When he was in Alcatraz. When it was Alcatraz. You guys don't even know who. Do you even remember that band? No, you don't. Yngwie Malmsteen and Steve Vai were in the same band at one point. That was their very first band. Zach Wilde, yeah, good. I think Zach is underrated because of Ozzy. He like in Black Label Society, he's fucking great. Ozzy, he's good, but then he has to live in the shadow of Jakey Lee and fucking Randy Rhoads and even Brad Gillis, man. Like, I mean, he's good. Don't get me wrong. I think he's better on his own though. Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine. Have you ever heard of a band called Lockup? Lockup was Tom Morello's band before he joined Rage Against the Machine, and he was every bit as good in Lockup. No, I was going to say bass players. You know who's a really kick-ass bass player? And I can really appreciate this too because I like jazz play. I mean, obviously, though, Jaco Pastorius is great, but the guy who was, I think it's like something White. His last name was White, but he was actually a black dude who was a bass player for Earth, Wind, and Fire. That dude, holy shit.
Was it Jack White?
Was it?
Was it Jack White?
Jack White. Yeah. No, Jack White's from White Stripes. Yeah. No, it's something White. I forget the guy who was look up the bass player from Earth, Wind, and Fire. That dude could fucking play bass.
Verdine White.
Verdine White. Yes. See, I got the last name right. That dude, badass. I mean, it's the 70s disco stuff, but like the thing is like them bass lines were hard. Vernell or Vereen? It's Vereen, right? Vernell.
That's well on Google it says Verdine.
Verdine, yeah. That dude was badass. Yeah. Love that dude. All right, let's get out of here. Coming up, the reason I'm leaving you guys early today is because I want to go see the debate between Mike Sartain and Destiny. What did you say? Book 1 and 2, the Rational Male series on Apple Books. Also, their hardcover. Hardcover is on its way. It's done. I have just been too busy moving lately. Hey, Dave Lauro. Jocko Willenick. It's not Jocko Willenick. It's Jocko Pastorius. Yeah, I will also say is what is it? The hardback is inbound. It's already done. It's just like all of a sudden I had to move. I had to start, and you got to remember, like I also had Ned got attacked by a Rottweiler, so I kind of put a lot of my writing projects on hold. But now things are normaling out, so I'll probably be. It's all ready to go. I just have to like pass it through Amazon's approval process, which takes fucking forever. There you go. All right. I think that's good enough. All right, brothers. I will see you guys next week. Now, here's the other surprise is since we got this great studio and I have producer Kyle here, who is also Miguel's brother.
Yes, sir.
And now my PA, now my personal assistant. He knows the way I like my coffee. So you're officially hired. So what's this? So anyways, we got a lot of new stuff coming. I want to start doing like some panel shows in here, some live shows in Red One. We're going to change up a little bit of the look here, some of the background a little bit. I think we're going to go to that hex style. Hopefully, I think I talked your brother into it. the hex style soundproofing, which I think is much better choice. And let's see, I got to you. Make sure I clear everybody out. Oh, I missed one. Hang on one second. Can enemies become allies? Yes. Let's see. Let me see if I can quote 48 Laws of Power. What is it? Never put too much trust in friends and learn how to use enemies. There's your 199 answer. Oh, and this was pretty good. Dandelion. Rolo, does biology plays a big part on our sexuality? That's all it is. I was talking to a lefty and he said there is no evidence of it. Well, let me encourage you, Dandelion, then to go and watch the debate of Mike Sartain, Destiny, and I think they're on Alex from Playing with Fire's channel. I hate to give him any kind of juice, but Mike's on the show, so I have to. But they're debating evolutionary psychology on that show today. Is it legit? And I helped Mike prep for this. Hopefully he'll get a word in edgewise, because when Destiny gets pressed, he starts to filibuster, and that's probably what will happen, is he'll filibuster. But my guess is that he'll probably drop some of the same criticisms that Steve Stewart Williams and Gad Saad have already addressed, and hopefully that will be there'll be a conversation at all. But that's happening here in another 2 minutes. So I'm going to sort of give these guys the floor here in just a second. Let's see. Who trust who? Who would screw over who? Kate? Who? Hello? Oh, yeah. Homath is on it too. Yeah. Homath is on there too as well. I like Homath. I think Homath is definitely an ally. I think he's kind of like, Homath is remedial, but like he's well, I don't mean that in a bad way though. I mean, he's kind of like goes back to the basics, but he makes it entertaining and he's funny, right? Why he would be on a show that's debating evolutionary psychology, I don't know. And I don't really care, because I think he's funny enough to make it entertaining. So I will still watch it. But I think he's a net benefit. If Pearl is a net deficit, then Homath is definitely a net benefit. I think I pretty much made my case here. With respect, dude, why really? Here's that attention you wanted. There you go. Just tell us it's all the Jews. Can we skip to the part where you tell us it's all about the Jews? Thank you. Actually, let me get this guy. There you go. Goodbye. See you later. What's that? Hold on. I put Kate back up. He only talks to the girls. Playing with Fire, they openly put Andrew over the coals after they said, yeah, well, that's because Playing with Fire is they're only interested in the clips. It's all it is just it's just gotcha bullshit. It's just YouTube blood sport. Now Mike, you got to remember, Mike will do anything. Seriously. And I don't mean that like, oh, he's easy. Mike will, like, people will say that, well, Rolo, didn't Mike didn't do an interview with Pearl? Yeah, he did an interview with Pearl. Pearl came in and he did this interview, and he said it was actually kind of boring. It wasn't even all that much engagement with it. But he's not like doing collabs with her. He's not trying to like logistically set up some bullshit at fucking Daily Wire. Okay. That was one time. By the way, that was like in the early days too. That was it November last year? No, it was in 2022. So, you take that with a grain of salt. Has he done anything with her since? No. Would he do something again with her? Probably. And would I hold it against him? Yeah, I probably would. But Mike is about generating memberships for MOA, which I think is a net positive. So do I think that he takes her seriously? No. Is Mike about it? Mike is definitely about helping guys out. He's bottom up. And that's why he's the only program that I endorse. He's not like, hey, we're going to save the world and save the West. No, it's each one tell one. And it's like, it's about the individual man. And that's why I like Mike. So, but again, you don't see Mike doing like live streams with Pearl. You don't see Mike going, hey, Mike doesn't need Pearl, right? Really, Myron and Fresh don't need Pearl. I don't think they do. I hope they don't. But I hope I have spelled out in no uncertain terms exactly what this bitch is about. And is she drawing a paycheck? Is she getting fucking health benefits? Is she getting fucking aid for dependent children from fucking, Daily Wire? No, she's not, but she's profiting from it. And her purpose is to serve as a foil. All she does is throw out some firebombs, throw out some bullshit, throw out something about how we need to repeal the 19th that she heard from some black pill doomer or MGTOW somewhere, or she'll drop some bomb about like how 16-year-olds are like hotter than 26-year-olds or something like that. And what happens is then the people who complain about this shit, people who think that bothers the red pill, they only think that because Pearl is the mouthpiece. She's the one they go, well, she's about she's the red pill. So I guess that's what they're all about, right? She's just there to serve as a foil. She is the fall guy. She is their patsy. She's there to make the red pill look bad. That's all, the only function she serves. And that's why when it's a slow news week or Matt Walsh says, oh, what's going on? Let's look around these red pill guys, right? They only mention her name, no one else. Maybe they occasionally Andrew Tate, who has completely disavowed the red pill like in the last like few months, right? So the only thing I'm just going to leave you guys with this: she is a net negative to guys actually finding help, to guys actually getting into this stuff, to guys actually having getting some sort of benefit out of this. She is a net negative to that. She is a hindrance. She is an obstacle. She's an obstacle. She's a shit human being is what she is. I'll go ahead and say that. She's a shit human being. And I think I have pretty much spelled that out in no uncertain terms. So when people say, well, what's Rollo's beef with her, blah, 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 I got years going back. So if what I've said about her in the past didn't stick, hopefully this time it will. So there you go. I'll leave you guys alone. All right. I will see you guys. Actually, I will see you guys on Wednesday this week. See what I can do. I got something special lined up. I don't want to give it away. Dude, really? Dio, thank you very much. I like Korn. Don't get me wrong. Korn's all right, but really? The greatest metal voice in history? Yeah. Come on, Kyle, Dio or Korn? The best thing about Kyle is he's a metalhead too. Yeah. So that's why
I grew up with Korn. So
yeah, I know it's a generational thing, but Ronnie James Dio is the greatest voice in heavy metal. And there's some like people ask me this. What do you think? Rob Halford. Hey, let me ask you, Rob Halford, Ronnie James Dio, or Jeff Tate from Queensryche? See, that's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Come on now. Ronnie James Dio is the voice of metal. All right, guys. You know who else is a great voice? I don't know if you would call this metal. Yeah, you would call this is metal. Metal enough. Where we go? There we go. All right, guys. I will see you guys later. This same time next Sunday, but also look for something special on Wednesday. If you want to know what I'm talking about, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter. If you have any questions, if you want to throw shit at me, you want to know where I got this. Jeremy, there's a leak. Trust me, there's a leak. Guys, Daily Wire, you guys are fucking idiots. Where we go. So there you go. There you have it. Let me see if I can make this work at the very end, and we'll get out of here.
Would you do it again? I need to feel you on top of me. It was my first time, but I was just a kid when we met and went to bed. It was my first time. What do you expect from me? I'm breaking up the bedroom, hold up, stopping and stopping with the head. Like she's calling you Kelly. So baby, want me? Ride me up and down like a pony. Turning up my song, getting nasty. Working up and down on your body. Want me? Ride me up and down like a pony. Turning up my song on your body. Baby, we'll get down to it all night. But maybe we can fuck again. And maybe things are different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? I need to know. And maybe we can fuck again. And maybe things are different. Goddamn, baby, one more again.
Appreciating podcast has been a production of the Rational Male. All rights reserved. Registered trademark 2024. Go.